No.
I talked to him about this. He's the nutrition freak, and then she just follows along.
She just runs a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, we're live right now.
Hi there, and welcome to episode 95 of the Crippled System podcast show.
The final episode.
It's the final episode.
Well, after our topic today, we won't have any listeners.
Just no one will listen to us anymore.
And we may be murdered on air.
Yeah, we're gonna wait. We're gonna wait on that topic.
I got really excited for a minute.
Thank you.
Intros?
My name's
yes.
Nathan.
I'll point at you that. Now we know it's you.
This is Nathan. I played Pigs until Sunday. Now I play Convergence.
Yay!
I almost kept with Pigs.
And
but
then
I
you didn't.
Oh my god. It was going to be my last hurrah. And then I'm like, next year I'm going to be more serious. I'm going to play in like Masters events and Hardcores and Iron Gauntlets. Because I haven't played in a single Iron Gauntlet or Masters or Hardcore in my life ever.
Sure.
So I'm like, next year I'm going to start doing that. So this is my last hurrah for Pigs. And then I went 6-1 with my only loss being out of my stupidity, not out of them. And I'm like, oh my god, Pigs are amazing. So I almost stuck with Pigs. And then
Are
I'm like,
Pigs amazing, or is Arcadius' theme force amazing?
half of those wins were with Carver. I beat Doomreaver spam with Carver.
That's impressive.
Yeah, I was proud of myself with that. But then on the way home, I'm like, man, I might actually stick with Pigs. And on the way home, I pulled out War Room and I started making Convergence lists, and I was giggling with joy over my Convergence list. So
Yeah,
back to
that's how I feel
Convergence.
about Legion.
I made a Lucant list, and I'm like, oh, Lucant is so good.
All right.
My name is Katie, and I play board games and Candy Crush quite a bit.
Candy Crush.
Yay!
Crush
the
that
candies.
candy.
Carl pointed out to me at War Machine Weekend that he was very far ahead of me in Candy Crush, so I have to catch
So
up.
Katie has to fix that.
That is a dangerous thing to do.
Isn't that what you did to Kristen, and that got her hooked on it again?
No, that's what Kristen did to me.
Friends don't hook friends on
I
Candy
had
Crush.
officially quit, and Kristen was like, I got further than you.
So the correct response is, oh, okay.
What are you doing, Andy?
And then you're done.
No, but I can beat them.
All right.
Who are you?
I am Jeremy, Valiant418 on the forums. I play Ret and Legion, and not very well either one at the moment, it seems.
To be fair, that's true.
That's true.
Like, I logged into Clash of Clans today,
Mhm.
and it turns out that there was half an hour left on a war that I hadn't even seen the beginning of.
Yup.
And I had been raided 7 times since the last time I'd logged in, and all 4 of my workers weren't doing anything, and I'm like, oh, apparently I don't play Clash of Clans anymore. So I have to decide whether to double down or just uninstall it. I haven't
fair.
decided yet.
He just lets me know when we're going to do a war.
Yeah.
And then I participate that weekend, and then I just kind of forget about it.
She kind of farms when we're not boring.
I've reached the town hall level where it's like, yeah, it's going to take a month to get to the next town hall, and that one's going to take 6 months before I get to the next
It's
one.
rough.
So I'm at that point, I'm like, so what am I getting out of this? And the answer is nothing.
The joy of
crushing other
advancing
people's
your
souls.
base.
You get something that wastes your time for you.
Right, and that's true. I mean, like, and I've talked about this previously with, like, his Band of Brothers game or Brothers of Butt Chunks, the ones that you played on your phone all the time. Like, last year, you recommended it.
I believe you, but I can't remember what
Oh,
game it is.
Blood Brothers.
Blood Brothers.
Blood Brothers, yes.
Blood Brothers. So, like, every couple months I download one of those games, I play it 24/7, every waking moment, planning out, like, all my, like, just fucking
Sure.
get obsessed with it. And then, like, 2 months later, I'm like, oh, so this is my life now? Never mind, uninstall.
What's going to happen when you look at your life and go, man, this is my life now. How do I uninstall that?
With a gun and the roof of my mouth.
That's a nice quick reset.
Or just strap like duct tape chainsaws to all 4 limbs and jump off of a balcony in a crowded theater. Like in a Michael Bay film, like at Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 7. Just rev them up and jump off.
Oh my god, speaking of 7, I saw the trailer for Star Wars 7. It looks fucking awful.
The trailer is not good.
There's not actually...
It's 2 people talking and nothing else happening, and the talking is boring.
Because I think that's a fan-made trailer.
Yeah, there's no actual
Oh, okay.
trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I realized
I
it's not like
asked him
No, I
if
said
it
it
was
wasn't a real
scary.
trailer.
Wait.
I said it could be real film. It may not. I didn't say it was the real
No,
trailer.
I was like, I feel like this is a parody or something.
Wait.
And he was like, no, I think this is it.
Like they just finished shooting like a week ago. There's
but
no way
that could be actual film. It could be.
Wait, Katie is asking the guy who had no idea that Star Wars 7 was occurring.
I knew Star Wars 7 was a thing now.
Dude, I don't
Now,
know.
not when we brought it up a year ago.
Well, sure.
I am pretty
was a
sure
year
when the
ago.
trailer of that movie launches, I'll know because my phone's going to explode because of all the Facebook messages
Yeah.
I'm going to have. All the Facebook
Yeah.
alerts.
I-
This is going to start on fire.
I saw it, but I didn't see any news on CNN. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's going to show up on CNN.
Possibly.
Or any other.
I'm still saying it could be real film, and if it is, that's a boring fucking scene.
I like the Age of Ultron trailer because James Spader sounds cool and he's quoting Disney song lyrics, which is kind of neat too.
I feel better now knowing that it wasn't a real thing. I was like, wow, this
That's
is
what she
gonna be
said.
terrible.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means.
All right, and who are you over there?
Oh, I'm Andy, Major Tusk on the forums, and I play something.
What do you play currently?
I
Are you still Cephalix or?
Well, if he ever primes them.
Yeah. Oh, poor Exelon. Yeah, sorry, he's my buddy on Facebook, but I have.
I know you're as much of a procrastinator as I am. I can't point fingers, but man, Andy, if you had gotten that guy painted, it would have been glorious.
Well, it would have been glorious.
Weren't you
but I could
in a
not-
painting room all weekend for War Machine Weekend?
He was doing other
yeah.
stuff. He was assembling Trevor's friggin' illegal striders.
Yeah, those are very illegal.
Very illegal, but very cool. But yeah, no, I was working pretty much all weekend, so there wasn't much I could do in that regards.
My name's Ralph. Brian's not here today.
He wants to distance himself from
All
the
right,
podcast.
I'm Gordon Tremesco.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I'm Ralph.
I'm Chain Attack Scott.
I'm Nigel.
Because no one knows what Scott looks like. Everyone knows Jay and everyone knows Trevor, but maybe I can get away with being Scott.
All right.
There's really a Scott?
Yeah.
Oh man,
I've met him.
I don't listen to Chain Attack because who cares? But
Scott's the only person I ever know to be physically assaulted in a strip club.
I feel like lots of people.
I saw an old man get thrown out of a strip club. Because
No, he didn't get thrown out. They wouldn't let him leave and physically beat him up. Because he tried to leave without paying or some such thing. I don't know what he did, but like the bouncers wouldn't let him leave. Like he's the only person I know to have that happen to them at a strip club.
Classy.
Yeah, that's Scott for
So
you.
I met Jay this weekend, or past weekend.
Jay.
Chain Attack, Jay.
Okay.
Jay Larson.
And I have to say, you cannot play like you're the Cylon the entire time in the hopes that you will become a Cylon. It's bullshit. And they'd be like, I don't know, I'm not playing that way. I don't know what you're talking about.
Question: did he, as a Cylon, win?
He did. Because,
So apparently, you can do that.
I mean, you can. It's something that can happen. It's just, it's not nice.
Well, he's a Cylon.
He wasn't a Cylon when he did all the things.
You don't know that.
No,
You
I
do actually.
know
No,
that.
I don't mean in the game. I mean actually,
Oh,
Jay
like-
is a Cylon.
He might actually
That
be a
could
toaster.
be
That could be.
it. But he was president the entire time. Which, one, if I'd known that he was going to be president, I wouldn't have also picked a political leader because that was boring for me. That's the thing. And two, he was just like, he got all his quorum cards and he just never did anything with them.
Yeah, you guys lost to morale, and I guarantee he had inspirational
I
speeches in that
guarantee it.
stack.
Right, and he was like, I never drew them. Sure you didn't.
Sure you didn't, Jay.
Sure you didn't.
Those 15 quorum cards you have, none of them increase morale.
And he wasn't even the Cylon in the second half. He was given a Cylon card in the last act.
very end.
Which I was mad at Keith even more for that because even though that was the right move
Keith
on
Hooks?
his part, yeah,
Keith Hooks, not Keith Christensen.
No, Captain Keith.
it made me mad because he gave in to what Jay's plan was the entire time.
Yeah, he could have chosen anyone to ride along with him, and
Yes,
he gave
he
it to
could've.
Jay. Got to
Yep.
meet Jay's husband. He was a cool guy.
Yeah.
He played a best.
He played Battlestar with us.
Yeah, I know. It was part of that story that we were
Ah.
literally just telling.
But you weren't.
But you
you
weren't-
were in the
weren't
room
there.
though.
Yeah, I was.
Oh, were you?
I was there for the end of that.
Oh,
I was there for like the last two rounds.
You weren't memorable.
Keith had
that
JR
makes sense.
whispering.
I remember
He played
you
Resistance.
fucking losing.
Yeah,
so
that was a bummer.
Shove it.
here's the thing about his husband is I don't think he was interested in the first part of the game. So we had Jay playing as a Cylon the entire time, even though he wasn't a Cylon, and then we had uninterested Brian, not this Brian. And
I'm
then,
Ralph.
and not this Ralph. And so, like, midway through, Brian got into it, and he was like, okay, this is pretty fun, and I get it, but it was too late.
Yeah, he
When
was never had a chance.
when he was at his most fun, I had already given up as a human. Going, let's just lose faster because Jeremy was a Cylon leader. I'm like, let's just lose fast enough so Jeremy loses with us.
Yeah.
That was
Well, what's
my
funny is I was
strategy.
sitting on the two cards that if you had lost faster, I would have actually won. But because you drug it out a little too far, you went too far down on pop, and so I didn't win.
When the admiral's a new player and they choose a one distance planet,
It wasn't even the Admiral.
Well-
Jay did the make the CAG pick this
oh,
time.
whatever. The
He
point
gave
is, he had
him
three
three.
cards to choose
Yup.
from, and he chose a one distance.
Yup.
Well,
Yes.
I mean, it was the first time he played.
That's what I specifically started with. When the new player gets to pick, and they
Yeah.
pick the one distance, you're like, oh, he thought that losing 4 fuel was bad.
Yeah.
He was wrong.
He was wrong. He should have jumped far.
Yeah.
Very, very far. We also had the longest string I've ever seen in Battlestar with no jump symbols.
Yeah.
Like, it was to the point where people were talking about going to the room that just adds a jump symbol, which I've never seen happen ever in
It was
Battlestar.
I grabbed the deck. It was 8 cards in a row without a jump symbol.
That's bad.
I've never seen that
Good.
happen.
Well, unless you were a Cylon or Jay.
This wasn't the first time it came.
Are we sure that Jay is just not a Cylon in real life?
We're
That's
not
what I said, yeah.
100%.
We're not 100% sure. We're not going to rule it out.
Okay.
Announcements.
Announcements.
Wait,
What else do you have, Ralph?
I have an announcement. As of today, the Packers are the first NFL team in history to score 28 or more points in the first half of 4 consecutive home games. The radio announcer thought that was worth telling me, so I'm sharing it.
All right.
I just want to point out that I stopped listening.
Me too. That's why my eyes were closed, because I shut down, and that was like my memory repeating the radio that I also didn't care about.
I just heard the number 4.
Yeah, Brett Favre. He's our quarterback.
What's happening? December 6th.
Thank you.
Who's the Boss event in Madison.
Yes.
Charity event. Mega charity event. The true form of the Who's the Boss. With shenanigans.
It is the best Who's the Boss. That is 100%.
If you're giving money to the wheel to help homeless and hungry and whatever people.
Plus because it's
So it's for tots.
Yeah. And because it's not a con, we have a little more time so people can call it challenges and stuff. I got a con, you just got to kind of get it and go.
This one it's really built to have fun at.
This is the true, like, not that people don't love Who's the Boss at cons and stuff, but this is the true Who's the Boss. Everything else is a shabby imitation of the real Who's the Boss that happens in December in Madison every year.
It's an abridged version that you see at a convention.
Yes.
As compared to what you see it here, which is, you have larger games, more shenanigans, more scenario tables. Why the fuck are you doing?
And Crump managed to ruin the last one by not being there.
And then I was Crump.
Yeah.
I have a trophy at home that says I'm the best Crump there is.
Yeah. Crump, you would have had a free Be the Best Crump Here trophy if you just shown up.
I don't know why you're so proud of it.
Katie was very embarrassed I was wearing my Crump trophy around the room. She didn't want to admit she knew me.
I forgot to bring my Nathan Hoffman all-around awesome person plaque to War Machine Weekend to put on my table every game.
You should have.
Damn it. Damn it, Katie.
All right.
So I have one thing to say to Red Baron, who posted on here, who's saying that he's listening it through his Xbox. Xbox off.
I love that guy who made that his handle.
That was the most fantastic handle ever.
Just a moment of genius.
It was good stuff.
Seems like you could
Hey,
change
PlayStation
it.
has that now.
Oh.
What?
Well,
he did it on purpose.
No, I understand him, but it seems like you could change what the keyword is. Like if you wanted to name it to like Tinkerbell or something.
Xbox Tinkerbell, and then it shuts down?
I would just change mine to Xbox Nathan Hoffman. Then it would just turn itself off.
It just commit suicide.
Or it turns itself on.
Anytime you talk, it turns me on. Oh, Smithers, you're so good. Turning me on.
I'm Ralph.
Yeah. Okay, Ralph. What else do you got for us, Ralph?
All right. Those are the announcements. We have topics.
You have a couple.
Sure.
Ish.
2 topics.
Wait, I want to start with my topic because I'm real fired up
Don't
about
look at my
it.
notes.
I was going to destroy your notes.
That wasn't a topic.
So wasn't it?
No, you can have a topic.
Well, yeah, but all right, you're fired up about it.
No, it's fine. I don't want to do it anymore.
That's what she said.
Let's hear it.
No, you took all the joy out of it. We'll do it later. I'll interrupt
That's
you
what
again
she
later.
said.
No, it's not.
You took the joy out of it? Yeah.
That one, but not that we'll do it again later.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I was.
Yeah, that's what Brian was hoping.
No,
Not what you said.
Not what you said.
I'll steal your joy later.
I don't have any joy. No, do your thing.
Okay, I'm gonna do it. Here's the thing: is nobody should ever shop at Home Depot ever, especially if they want to order something. Here's the story of the baseboard. Okay, so you go in and you buy a baseboard, and they're like, "We don't have that baseboard in that color that you want, even though we sell a thinner version of that baseboard in the store. So we're gonna have to special order for you. Would you like a quote first? Sure, I'd like a quote first. Quote took a fucking week to get. A week, because apparently phones don't exist here. So, and no, that was just to get a message that says, "Hey, we finally have the quote." And then I had to call him, and he wouldn't be there, and I had to call him back again, and he wouldn't call me and just say, "Hey, here's the quote," or "Can I email you," or any of these things that exist because it's the modern world. He just like wouldn't call me back at an appropriate time, or he'd be like, "I work tomorrow from 2:30 to 5. So if you can call me then, if you call me when I'm not here, nobody knows what you're talking about." It was very annoying, okay? And so my dad finally calls. This is very important because my dad is a male.
What?
All of a sudden, the answer to the quote is done and everything gets paid for and it's great. So there's that. So then,
Wow.
It gets better.
so then it's supposed to be ordered in 2 weeks. Never got a call that it was in, and so I called my dad and he was like, "Well, it's probably just sitting there, so you need to call them." And so I called them, and they're like, "Oh, yeah, well, we need to set up a delivery for that. Are you sure you want a delivery and not to pick it up? And I was like, yes, I'm sure I want a delivery and not to pick it up because it's going to be super long. My car's not that long. And also, I paid for the delivery. So, yes, I want the delivery. Okay, well, we're going to have to call you back because I don't know how to set up a delivery. Okay. So I called them back because they never called me back. And they're like, still don't understand how to set up deliveries, except for this guy might know how, but he's on another phone. Can we give you a call back in like 10 minutes? Yes, you can give me a call back in like 10 minutes. Never gave me a call back. Jeremy calls, who's also a male, to set up the delivery.
That
and
is
they're
true.
like, sure, we can set that up for you.
Yeah, set it up right while I was on the phone. Delivering it Tuesday.
So I'm not
Yup.
saying that they're sexist at the Home Depot, and also this ordering, which should have taken a total of 2 weeks from the day that I wanted to order it to the day that it was in my driveway, took, like 2 months at this point.
I think it was a month, but it was still a long time.
It was a really long time. It was longer than a month. I called him back and forth for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Trying to get the quote.
The quote part was funny to me.
But there also seems to be a non-response to me in particular for whatever reason.
Question.
Answer.
How many Y chromosomes do you have?
I don't know.
So, all right. So we'll add genetic concepts to the list of things that women don't understand. So genetic concepts, math, and anything about tools was the real point I was making. You don't have a Y chromosome, so you don't know anything. Sweetie, it's cute that you think you can do anything with your house, but hammers are scary for little girls.
It's true.
So they had to work with the big man of the house. So next time, just stay in the kitchen, preferably barefoot and or pregnant, and mind your business. Woman. That's my impression of the Home Depot.
That's the next commercial.
They should totally use that as a commercial. Just, you stay in the kitchen, broad. We're here to talk to the man. The Home Depot. Sadly, there would be people who would start going there because of that commercial.
It's true.
It's kind of a normal commercial. I kind of like it. I have a side topic on the whole sexism thing. So then, that video that was online, like a woman walking through New York for 10 hours, and she gets all these comments.
I saw the one with Skyrim, though.
Well, yeah.
Did you see the one with the girl with painted on jeans?
Well, there's all sorts of things like that. So it's a really dumb video.
No one noticed except for like one guy.
Yeah.
I saw one with the girl with the painted on top. She was topless, and then she just had a T-shirt painted on, and that people noticed.
Yeah, well...
People didn't notice when it was the pants. She even asked the lady, she was like, do you sell these pants here? And she was like, I don't think we sell those pants here.
Nice. Well, yeah, but I'm just talking about, they walk for 10 hours.
Sure.
And like a lot of the videos, like this guy says, hey, like, see all this harassment? Hey, lady. And they're like, oh my God, it's the worst thing. And then everyone kind of... I love the memes of people like the Skyrim thing where it's 10 hours of a character walking through Skyrim or 10 hours of a person walking through all these scenarios. It's like my favorite thing in the world, those memes of that particular sexism thing.
I never saw that video.
Well, there's another one that it's not, because she's just her. There's one where like the woman's got like a pink corset with a camera here, and and there's people look at the corset. Well, no shit, it's neon pink tits hanging out. Yeah. Like, I don't care if you're a heterosexual female, a heterosexual male, a gay female, or a gay male. When you see bright pink tits coming down the road, you're gonna go, what? Like, what the fuck are your tits hanging out for? Like, you're not even necessarily ogling her. You're just like, Jesus.
I haven't seen that video.
Like, when I see the car driving along with all the rubber duckies glued to the top, I'm not jerking off staring at the rubber ducks. I just go, what the fuck?
Well...
I do it later.
That's appropriate.
I haven't revealed your fetish. You shouldn't have revealed mine.
Everyone, by the way, if you are listening, you don't know his fetish, you're like the only people, because Katie was drunk, just shouting into the sky. God. Everyone War Machine Weekend knows his fetish now, so if you don't know, you should watch War Machine Weekend.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
she was on multiple podcasts, drunk and feeling chatty.
Oh no! We were playing board games with somebody, and she started telling the people about it. And Jeremy's like, "Oh my God, Katie!" And then I just joined in, and Jeremy and I just started high fiving over the fetish. Yeah, I'm like, whatever. Jeremy's out. I'm gonna make him feel better. High fives.
To be fair, everyone I talked to was like, "Oh yes, I also have this fetish." So. You guys can be fetish buddies. I made you friends. This is something that you guys can connect over.
I'm glad I'm not facing the camera right now.
A cold beer and be like, hey, buddy, you want to talk about our fetish? We're friends now.
I don't think that's how that works.
I told somebody we're friends now. Now they're my friend.
It was Trevor Christensen.
Oh, yeah. Trevor Christensen and I are friends now.
Because she told him they were. And he's like, okay.
No, it is ape law.
He's looking less and less like JR now. He's starting to grow the beard.
As he has the beard grown in, yeah.
The blight beard.
Alex, by the way, had a fantastic beard at War Machine Weekend.
Yeah.
I was jealous of Alex's. Like, I have a
Clockwork Vox Alex shaver.
Yeah, like, I'm not embarrassed by my beard or anything. It's a good beard, but like Alex's beard was a beard.
Yes.
That was a beard people
He
aspire
spends an
to.
hour a day on it.
Like those marble statues of Zeus.
Yeah,
he
that's
has
the beard
that
he has. Yeah, it's true.
It's a lot of hard
Alex and I were yelling. So on Destiny, we for some reason him and I can't hear each other. Everyone else can, but we can't. But JR's he plays the sound through his TV and then has the microphone. So what him and I try to do is yell so loudly that we can hear each other through JR's mic through the television. It works sometimes.
I think that probably one of you two has someone muted.
We checked several times.
Destiny does that every software. Two people just can't.
You'll
hear
get an
each
error.
other.
We get an error when we log into it, whether it's a fire team or a party chat. We get an error when we log in that just says your NAT types are incompatible. Well, we're both NAT type 2. Everyone else in the group is NAT type 2, but okay. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but
It's a weird thing.
for some reason Alex and I just don't ever get to talk to each other. We got it to work one time, and we've run the vault like 14 times.
Do you like hipsters? Is that?
I don't. Maybe my PS4 doesn't like hipsters, though. Maybe that's the problem.
probably
Hipsters are terrible.
Yeah.
I do love the glove and boots video. That's the evolution of the hipster.
I've seen that one.
It's like the caveman had the beard and was filthy, but wasn't snooty, and then beatniks were snooty, but they weren't filthy, and like it just gets all this stuff together. It's like here you have a hipster.
Yeah.
Speaking of cheating in War Machine,
Oh my god.
Well, we should preface this as we have the 10-foot pole. And,
Preface the shit out of this.
yeah.
okay,
All
warning.
right, Ralph. Disclaimer.
Yeah.
My name is Ralph, and here's a disclaimer. I have notes. Obviously, cheating has been discussed a lot over the week on the forums and the Twitter.
It's not just this week. It's been being chatted about in various forms for a while.
And even though some of it hasn't even been, a lot of it that happened was even at War Machine Weekend where it wasn't even talked about online. I think it's got so overwhelming. So we thought we'd talk about cheating in general. We are
In general.
We are in no way trying to refer to the variety of events that have occurred over the past week. We are not pinpointing those events.
If any events occurred.
Or a few weeks. Well, a few weeks ago, there was an incident that people were very worked up about as well. So, like,
So we're not
there
calling
have been
out those-
incidents.
Yeah,
There
so
have been
there have been
incidents.
incidents, and we are in no way calling them out. We are not referencing those particular people. We have no comments or concerns or issues or thoughts. Well, we have thoughts. We're not going to say.
We're not gonna say them on
the
air.
air.
Nor even the fact that we're talking about cheating and we're mentioning these incidents doesn't mean that we're saying that those people in those questions actually cheated either.
Right.
Like,
Correct.
No connection. It's just topical.
But I think also, I think some of the things we're going to talk about, I think will be good for players when they go to events. I think there's some things people don't realize is happening in conventions that people aren't aware of. So we wanted to prepare people for some of the things that do exist, unfortunately, in competitive War
And they
Machine.
seem to be happening. Like, part of the reason we're bringing this up is we've all talked about this off air, off and on, for probably the last year, that it feels like it's increasing. Like, as a general thing, it feels like you run into it more than you used to.
As a general thing, War Machine is getting more competitive.
And I think that is what it is.
Well,
The
it's
WTC and War Machine. I mean, War Machine Weekend, like,
And Iron Gauntlet.
Like 5
Iron
years ago or
Gauntlet.
so, we went down to War Machine Weekend. The last chance qualifier was like 16 people, and like the top 3 got into the Invitational.
Yeah.
Like it was just whatever, and now it's hundreds and hundreds of people. I mean,
Yes.
it is.
Well, that and things are videotaped now. I don't remember them being videotaped when we first started playing. Like,
No, the first game videotaped was 2 years ago. War Machine Weekend was like the first game to ever be videotaped. Was the final game of the Invitational,
which actually caused issues.
which actually caused issues. The very first game they ever recorded caused issues. But be that as it may,
All right, so that's the disclaimer. Do anyone have any pre-cheating discussion thoughts?
Well, also,
This isn't just this isn't just about War Machine in general. It's about all competitive games. I mean, it happens in.
but a lot of the things we're going to talk about are specific to War
But it
Machine.
is,
Right.
yeah.
Right, but it's Magic the Gathering. I've seen that happen in there. I've watched a lot of videos on it. It's actually intrigued me to no end. I have no idea why.
Andy wants to learn how to cheat at Magic the Gathering. That's what you can all
No,
take
well,
away.
no, I know how to cheat, but it was very interesting. I saw a recent post on Facebook about somebody who had been banned permanently by Wizards of the Coast.
Sure.
And I wanted to see why.
that wasn't the butt crack guy, right?
No.
He just got like a year.
Yeah, he got a temporary suspension or whatever.
What?
Yeah.
He took pictures of people's
butt.
plumbers' butts. And like he posed
Like
like
a
all
huge
solemn.
I see that.
Yeah, he got like a year-long ban from
He
tournaments.
deserved that, I think.
For being, it was bullying. It was bullying.
It was. He deserved
My
it.
favorite Magic the Gathering cheating thing that I found out about is just like Jim was saying. This is something that you could do like consistently. It was like a full on trick. Is like if you're losing, just scoop start to pile up your land and everything and whatever, and just go, well, I guess you got me. And then if they actually like take their stuff and like put their discard pile back with their stuff, they lose.
Yep.
Because you didn't technically concede. You were just musing out loud that you were in a bad position, and you were just touching your cards.
Yep.
And once they put their discard onto their deck to pack their stuff up, they forfeit because they cheated by putting their graveyard back onto their deck. And then you just put your lands back down and go, oh, what are you doing? I was just straightening stuff. Yep. Oh, I guess you lost.
Yup.
It's such a dick thing.
It's Magic.
I'd be so pissed.
It's Magic.
I would have punched them.
Well, I mean, in Magic, you have events where you're playing for sometimes $10,000 in some of those tournaments. So that's
there are thousands of dollars on the line in Magic tournaments.
That is the biggest difference between this and War Machine, where you're playing.
There are thousands of dollars on the line of War Machine
for a $10 to $20 trophy.
Yeah.
Hey, some of those trophies probably cost $30.
And E-Cred.
E-Cred's a big thing.
E-Cred is a big thing.
And that's why I think this is happening more, because you have Iron Gauntlet, you have these master events, people qualify throughout the year, you have multiple these big cons. People want the credit to be one of those top contenders.
Yeah. And what I was going to throw out before we start talking is obviously the topic is cheating, and you're going to list types of cheating. Be mindful that you, me, anyone, listeners, you could also be doing some or all of these behaviors unintentionally and subconsciously, whatever. Be mindful that this is also this is not necessarily intentionally dirty play, it's just dirty play. And
some of it's accidental cheating.
Yes, but that's the thing, like this isn't just look out for assholes that do this because they're cheating assholes. This is also look out for if you're doing it because you're being an idiot.
You know, the first one's a very good example. Very good segue.
Segue!
All right.
I want to say something.
All right.
I really like cheating. I love cheating. I think it's great, especially games that are like just luck and like Monopoly and like Scrabble. That's so much fun to cheat. You know what's not fun to cheating? Things that are like intelligence-based games.
I cheated against you in Words with Friends for every game we ever played. I cheated. Every game I beat you when I cheated. I used that little word for friend dictionary thing. Yep. I got a good streak against Katie. She was mad at me. I cheated every single time.
Yeah, Brian suddenly got infinitely smarter. I wonder what happened.
I thought you just got better.
I took those words.
Yeah, those great at cheating. But anything that's like a measure of your intelligence, I feel like the only person, if you're intentionally cheating, is yourself. Like you're just saying, I know that I'm not smart enough to beat anyone else here, so I guess I'll cheat. That's my biggest thing.
So the moral of the story is never play Katie at Monopoly or Scrabble.
Yeah, don't play against me in online Scrabble.
Don't play online Scrabble.
I got bored of winning all the time, so I just stopped playing those games.
Yeah.
I guess my goal for our conversation coming up here is that I want people to be playing better and cleaner overall. That's really the main goal, and that way you can try to trust your opponent to play the same way.
Well, I also... Sure. Okay.
And
Good.
my name is Ralph.
It says right there on your name tag.
Ralph.
Side note, the last time I blatantly cheated at a game was like 15 years ago. It was a game of Mafia, which is the same as Werewolf, for those of you who don't know. And we pulled out all the slips, and we did the eye-opening thing, and it was there's three of us, and only two people opened their eyes because one person's an idiot. So we had to negate the game because the two of us were like, there were only two of us, so we had to put all the slips of paper back in the hat. And I really wanted to be fucking Mafia, so I palmed the piece of paper so that I could be Mafia again. And somebody saw, so I got lynched the first goddamn day. So that's what I got for cheating.
See, that's also an acceptable game to cheat at.
Or arrested, or whatever the Mafia version of Werewolf is.
Yeah, it's the same basic thing.
I was eliminated by the player vote the first day because they're like, yeah, I saw Nate palm that. He's totally still Mafia.
Hey, remember when the captain was not resistance, the bad guys the entire time?
Yeah.
That was funny.
Remember that time when the very first mission, I failed it, which we never fucking do. So Katie instantly knew it was me, and she called out the other three people. One failure, Katie's like, it's these four people. I forget, Katie, did my team still win?
Your team still won because nobody listens to me.
Because you're a woman, and we all trained at the Home Depot.
Even though one of them said, man, I can't believe she called it on the first round. Out loud!
I was being all sarcastic. I'm like, oh, that's right, Katie. You totally got us the first round.
It wasn't you. It was...
And then somebody... Challenge Foster III was on my team, and I looked at his card, and I'm like, oh my god, he's told... Oh no, I had to put something face up. I got revealed or whatever, and he winked at me, and Katie's like, he winked at him!
No, that was the captain.
Yeah, it didn't matter. Didn't matter. We still won.
Nobody believed me.
Hey, Nate, did my spy team manage to fail all 3 of the first 3 missions in a row? Did we do that? That was pretty cool.
Awesome. Yeah.
After you looked at my card.
My favorite Katie moment ever in Resistance is when Jeremy, myself, the captain, and
Keith.
It was yeah.
We were all spies, and Katie knew that Jeremy was a spy right away from the get-go.
Yep.
Turns and gets a card to look at Jeremy's card after she's been proclaiming that Jeremy's a spy this entire time. Looks at Jeremy's card and goes, "I told you guys he was Resistance."
I always get the names mixed up.
No, he's a spy.
It's too late.
That story is always good to hear, especially the 85th time. I just.
So
That's
cheating.
what you get for being our friend.
I know.
It's your
I do the
reward.
same thing. It's just.
I think we're trying to change the
I was gonna say, I think you guys are all
we
trying.
have. Well, we also talked about how we want to get topics to be shorter, and this does not help us keep our shorter topics. So when it's a 45-minute topic, it's not my fault.
Well, that's
All
fine,
right.
because we're going to do this one topic and then move to Zappity Grumble. Like, that's the other way to keep the podcast shorter, is one topic.
Yeah, true.
All right, let's go.
Come on.
We got
Ralph, you have topic notes.
Anytime, Ralph.
Thank you. Who's Ralph? Oh, yes, me.
Segue. So I segue about accidental cheating.
The bully cheater is my first description of a cheater.
How was that accidental?
Well, this one isn't really accidental, but it's a bully cheater. Okay. This is very simple.
It doesn't feel like cheating, kind of.
This is something that happens more by an experienced player versus a non-experienced player. This is something that I saw happening about a year and a half ago, and mentally have made sure I don't go in the situation, because I may have been in that situation previously. Like you mentioned earlier, be careful what you do. And this isn't really a rough cheat, but it's basically, let's say I'm playing Jeremy, and it's Jeremy, and Jeremy has traveled 6 hours to get to this tournament, and I'm a local, and he knows, oh man, that guy's been in Masters events and everything, and we're playing. It's somewhere
He's on a podcast.
He's on a podcast, and he does Masters, and this is my second tournament, and I'm having fun, and then somewhere around 2 or 3, we get in a rules dispute, and I'm basically like, look, this is the way it is because I've played this game forever. I don't say you're the new guy, just shut up and listen to me, but it's basically
you're saying that in everything but your words.
And then Jeremy is like, well, I guess it's fine because he's plays more than me, and I'm not going to call a judge. And you play, and sure, and I will say probably more times than not, the experienced player will probably be correct, but no one's perfect, and people make mistakes a lot, and I hear it happening all the time where, yeah, we argued, but he got his way. I didn't call a judge. I didn't want to cause a scene, and then I lost, and then I was right, and and that's such an annoying thing to happen. So that mentality of a gamer, and you're basically cheating. You think you're playing it right, but you're wrong, and you're bullying the other person into submission.
Or if it's like a new faction or something like that, and you started that faction. You started playing that faction since it was released, and it's not really a faction that's well known to everyone else yet. It's one way to misinterpret a rule and then play that rule wrong the entire time.
Yeah, I've been caught with making. I've played a rule wrong for years and realized some from random person.
Well, coincidentally, Jeremy was showing me. I don't think Jeremy was trying to show me what I was going to bring up, but for years in Madison. Oh yeah, it's unrelated, but it's kind of related. For years in Madison, I don't know who started it. But since we all thought it was the same thing, it became a Madison rule that frenzies ignored lost aspects.
Yep.
For years, things would frenzy, and you get all three dice, because it's frenzying, it ignores lost aspects. Why wouldn't it? Sure. And so I'm sure, locals from out of time might have come in and we might have shouted them down. And
we thought that was the case. Like, I wasn't playing with you guys yet, but you guys still thought that the first time you guys hosted the Mayhem Cup, which was a lot of out-of-towners.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm sure it got ruled that way.
That's probably where we found out about it. Was somebody there, actually opened the rule book and said, no, you idiots.
Yeah, we played with that for a while.
And some players, I'm immune to that because as a receiver, if I'm arguing with someone, I don't have the ability to say, hey, stop and call a judge. But some people are afraid to call judges. They don't want to create a scene. Other personalities are like, well, fuck you, you're wrong.
Because they think they look like the asshole.
Yeah, and they don't want to
if you're like, listen, I know how it's done and I know I'm right. They think if they go, I'd rather have a judge, they think that makes them look like a dick because they don't believe you and whatnot.
My friend Brian's immune to that though.
The other thing that I've had happen to me before is I've called over a judge because I didn't know the rule and I just wanted to make sure, and obviously I don't know anything about War Machine ever because they were always right.
Our judges from the Home Depot?
I hate you. But anyway, one of the things that one of my opponents did was every time I only did it once, but afterwards he was like that, and it was like a I don't know how you describe that.
Yeah, I mean he anytime you had questions, he would make you feel guilty about trying to call over a judge because he'd act all exasperated about everything.
It's my time. I can do whatever the hell I want with it, and one of the things that because acting that way, and if he was right, it discourages the person from asking the question again.
And
you can do whatever you want on your time because it's your time.
Well, the other thing is sometimes you do need to ask that question on their time, and that's when they get really bent out of shape about it.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, this is important. I need to confirm this. And the other thing that can happen here, and I think part of why you run into people that don't do this, is if this happens even one time, someone gets way less likely to call a judge. I've known a rule for a fact, but I don't have my book with me. Someone tries to do something that's wrong, but they're a local at whatever tournament I happen to be at. I call the judge over. The judge comes over and he goes like, "Yeah, no, that's right." And I was like, "Well, can you show me in a book, or like, do you have any kind of proof? Like, feel free to pause the time or whatever. But like, if you have a book, I will show you in the book where that's wrong." And they're like, "Nope, I'm the judge. Shut up. It goes his way." And like, I've had that happen to me multiple times when I'm out of town or at a tournament, and it's really frustrating. Like, the judge is just like, "Well, my local must know because this local plays all my tournaments and he's really good."
Yeah, well, that's a slightly different problem, but it's
related to this.
It's related,
and it's part of why a lot of people that travel don't push it to the "let's call a judge," because if it's not a con, you're saying, "Hey, guy that plays all the time, let's call over your PG you hang out with all the time and get him to convince you you're wrong." Yeah. Which feels like a losing battle.
They might have the same problem that we had in Madison, where we all just played that way.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Incorrectly.
And so they just all think that's the rule.
But that's a secondary tier of it. But the first tier is at least you, and that's the more important thing. You were comfortable and confident and okay with your ability and your privilege to call a judge.
And that's my point. Is you should call a judge even if you had a bad experience. I guess is my point.
At the last chance qualifier, somebody called a judge over because they thought I was playing a rule wrong and they wanted to double check. And he we called the judge over and I'm like, that's fine. And the guy kept apologizing to me over and over. He's like, "I'm sorry, I'm calling a judge. I'm sorry." I'm like, "Don't worry, dude. Don't worry. We want to make sure it's right. Just no worries. Yeah. I'm not gonna hate you because you wanted to double check the rule.
Yeah, there's a million rules. Double check something.
Yeah. It's very easy to not know a small side corner case rule in this game. Very easy.
Yeah.
Or things like how mounted units.
Light Cav get to move 5 inches after their activation, Katie.
Who knew?
Everyone knew that.
If they're able to have a combat action.
And it doesn't even necessarily have to be a corner case thing. Like, again, like the crippled aspect things like we had. Like, it was a frenzy charge. And the guy, he was under the impression that frenzy charges were center to center.
Oh, wow.
Somehow, that was how he had learned it.
That would make them way worse.
Well, I might have been playing Arcadius at the time.
Ooh.
So, but the point is, and that's fine. And maybe it was a Mark 1. I don't know that it ever was, but it doesn't matter. The point is, I was perfectly happy. I mean, it was an important thing. And I don't want to just go, "No, you're wrong. You totally charged. It's a normal charge. Duh." Yeah. I called the judge over. I'm like, how do they work? And like I said, the guys, "I'm sorry. Don't apologize. Don't feel bad."
No. That's what the judges are there for.
Yeah.
Honestly and truly, that's why there are judges at these cons.
As a judge, the thing that we hate the most on this planet, out of every possible thing that can happen to us as judges, is find out after a game that somebody wished they'd called a judge over.
Yep.
Yeah.
And not just judge with a J, like any TO running an event, anytime Andy's running an event, Brian's running an event, if you find out after the game that somebody didn't call you over, you're like, "Well, why the fuck didn't you call me over? Like, I could have done something, I could have solved something."
Yeah.
You're impotent after the fact, and now this guy's pissed that guy shouted him down.
Yeah. Yep.
So that was the first one.
Yeah, that's a thing.
And it does happen.
Okay, and it's cheating. I mean, it's cheating related, but it's it's. So my next one is.
And sometimes it can be on purpose cheating,
exactly.
like because somebody's getting caught cheating, and they know that if they just shout the person down, they won't get caught as easily. Yeah. Because if a judge get called over, and then the judge is like, "You know better than that, Steve."
Yeah. All right.
The next
Sorry
one,
to Steve.
Sorry, everyone.
Steve is my now hypothetical cheater. I'm going to use Steve from now on.
You're Steve. Steve.
He's Ralph. You're Steve.
Nathan.
So my next one is the quick play cheater. Now, when I say quick play cheater, I'm talking about. This happens, I think, again to more people who've played more or people who are in the zone. Let's say you're about to do an assassination run. You have to kill you have your caster who can charge their caster with no fury. It's a shoo-in unless you roll. It's a shoo-in kill. But there's 2 miles you got to kill on the way there. So you grab those dice and you do the math in your head. You're like, okay, both attacks, all I need to hit roll is a 4, and it's an auto kill because my power is blah. And, so 2 4s, I win the game.
Yeah.
So you go and you pick up the dice. You quick roll the first one. You see a 5, whatever. You pick up the dice because they haven't even stopped rolling. Your opponent's like, hey, slow down. You roll your second pair of dice, and you're picking it up so fast. And your opponent's like, wait, stop. That was a 2-1. Yeah. But in your mind, you're like, well, I'm obvious. In your mind, you've won the game. And you're the victorious. You're just getting rid of this nonsense of pushing things out of the way to win it. Right. And so many times people are like, you're going so fast, you're not letting the dice stop, and you're picking up this 3. You're picking up this 2-1 when you needed a 4 to hit, and now you're in this really awkward argument because you didn't let your opponent actually see the dice you rolled because you were such a giddiness, and they know it was a 2-1, but what can they do now?
Or maybe it was a 2-2. I mean, it's the same thing. Even you don't even have to be wrong to be wrong here.
Yep.
Like it could have been a 2-2, and if you scooped it before they saw it.
And the thing is, this happens more frequently. It happens when you're in the zone, like Brian said, when you're right about to do kill. It also happens when you're playing time turns and it's your feet turn and you need to get some major work done, and you're on your extension and you have a minute left.
Or it's the
it
last
happens
2
on
minutes of
death
death
clock. It's the last 2 minutes of death clock. Like there's situations that make it happen more often.
But you have to let your opponent see the dice.
Yeah,
and if your opponent's not making an effort to see your dice, that's a different problem.
That's different.
But
there's a side argument along with this is. The thing that I struggle with as a newer player is that person knows that they have like a mat 6 and they know that my defense is 14, and so they know that they have to roll 8, so they'll roll something and then pick it up really fast. And it's like, I don't even know what you need to roll. So even if I can see the dice before you pick them up, I don't know if an 8 was legitimate or you needed a 9 or you needed...
They've made all these assumptions in their head.
Because I don't know what their mat is, and it's like, I can't verify the dice that you just picked up because you never told me what your mat
Or non-dice related, there's always the, all right, and then this guy charges here, and then this guy... I don't know how fucking far that was. You waved your tape measure vaguely in the direction of that model, and then you moved them. Like, who the hell knows how far that guy
It's a
moved?
different kind
Take
of...
down a notch. That's next.
Okay, well, they tie in together
Yeah,
because that is a fast play thing as well.
It's a quick play / sloppy, which I'll get into sloppy in a second.
Sloppy is a little bit different. But yes, the quick play with the dice.
Sloppy is when that happens in slow-mo also.
Yeah.
But yeah.
The other thing that's related to that is, and I don't think you have this as a separate thing, is marking damage. Someone you roll or someone else rolls or whatever, and you're just like, take 8 to the whatever, and you don't give them time to see the dice, or they say take 8, and you're like, sure, I'm marking it, whatever, I'm going to continue on with other things. And like, you have to actually take the time to mark the damage. Like, they need to be able to see your card or your war room map or whatever it is. Like, I have seen people accidentally, friends of mine that I know were not doing it on purpose, I have seen people be like, oh yeah, you totally did 12 damage, don't worry about it. And then the next turn I'm like, so that guy's got 12 damage on him. They're like, no, his card's fresh. And I'm like, well, no, fuck it is. Like...
Or they'll find out, like, as they're marking down damage, they're like, oh crap, this on the wrong jack.
Yeah, the wrong jack.
Oh,
and
no.
that I actually see happen even more often is you're running, especially in Hordes, you're running 4 beasts, and you're like, well, sure, you hit my Ravagore, go ahead. And then the next turn I'm like, why is my Scythian's Bind out? That doesn't make any sense. It's way over here.
And that's not really more so cheating, but that's just
it is though. It is legitimately it is legitimately cheating. Like it's not premeditated. Like people think of cheating as something you do with a premeditated intent to win the game.
Correct.
But it's still cheating.
Correct.
Even if it was accidental.
I will say though, people who do that, sometimes you'll see your opponent look down and they just look like someone punched them in the face, and you're like, what happened?
Yeah.
I marked all my damage wrong, and they're like in a state of shock as they just take like a turn of damage wrong. They don't know what to do, and you're like, and you both stare at each other confused, like, well, let's guess at something, and it's awful because both of you
is
bad.
Awful. And there's almost not like. The best solution in that case, in my opinion, is call over a judge and talk it through together. Don't pause your clock, because you're not allowed to pause your clock. Have the judge pause your clock, talk it over, and make sure you're both comfortable with what happened. But what usually winds up happening, this goes back to Brian's first form of cheating, and this is something I struggle with hardcore. I'm not a top level player, but I'm a loud, very aggressive verbally player. Like I just am. I'm not as withdrawn a person as a lot of War Machine players. I'm just not.
What?
I know, right? So it's weird that I would wind up on a podcast. So I'll be like, no, it's fine. Just don't worry about it. You take like 15 damage to column 3 and 4 on this beast, and like 12 damage to this beast on column 3 and 4. All right, let's rock and roll. And my opponent's like, sure, okay. And like in their opinion, that's completely 100% wrong. But I just like bowled them over. And like I used to be worse about that, and I've tried to get better about that, especially if it's someone I can tell is a little bit newer to the tournament scene, because you have to be even more careful about some of these things when you're playing against a newer player. Yeah. And like if I'm playing someone like Brian and I tried to do that to Brian would be like, the hell I will.
Fuck yourself.
Yeah. Ralph, sorry. If I told Ralph to do that.
Yeah, Brian left.
He was never here.
Yeah, he's never here.
But like if I'm playing some new guy that just started playing, he's like, well, he seems to kind of know what's going on, so he's probably right.
Yeah.
And I've been on the other side of that as well, and I've been angry at myself later for having gone along with it. Like it all, a lot of these kind of roll together, but that's my point. Is they're kind of
is what somebody mentioned on here too. The favorite saying is that the judges are there so that you can hate them and not your opponent
or yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
hate this guy.
Going back to the person who does the math in their head, by the way, is
Marshall.
Well, there's
We're not
that.
naming names. Come on.
All name Marshall's name. That was the most surreal fucking thing. God, I'm like, Marshall, I'll print the forms out for you. Like, that was the thing. It was field tested. He didn't have a printer. Like, I will bring you fucking printouts.
I was going to say, we should probably mention why we mentioned Marshall with remembering
We've
damage.
talked about this before, I think.
think on the
Marshall would
podcast.
run Legion Beast Swarm lists, and he had no cards because it was field tests. He'd be like, I do 7 to the 1, okay. And I do 3 to the 5, all right, his spirit's out. How do you fucking know that his spirit's out? And he'd be juggling like 10 beasts in his head. He's doing shredder swarms. He's like, this one's spirit's out, this one's got 2 boxes left. Either he is an idiot savant or he's just completely full of bullshit, and I know which of those two we all believe.
So it's something that I do if I... Oh,
No.
Okay, sorry.
I was going to say, something I do if I'm rolling dice and my opponent is taking a really long time to actually mark down the damage, is I'll leave that set of dice out, and I'll go to a different set, and I'll roll the attack and roll the damage on that.
Something I've seen some players do, and I really liked it when they did it, and I don't do it because I don't think I had enough to do this for tournaments, is I've seen people that have 2 sets of dice, 2 sets of colored dice, one on their right, one on their left. This is my hit dice, this is my damage dice, and so the hit dice is still sitting there, the damage dice is still sitting there, and I can be like, you're comfortable that I hit, right? All right, I'm going to go back and start rolling hit dice. You can see the damage dice. Like, that's actually a really cool thing that I never have the foresight to do ahead of time.
That's perfect, because this game doesn't really require buckets of dice.
No.
This game requires 5, 6 dice tops.
Yeah, I play people, they have like 5 of one color, 5 of another color, and then a third color that's their location with the damage dice.
Yep,
And they're
that
done.
is perfect.
Not that you ever roll 5 dice, but you could.
I think 7 is the most you can need.
That is not true because there are Forsaken in the
Oh,
game.
not Forsaken. You're right. Forsaken exists.
And
Apart from the infinite that
Yes.
Forsaken can roll, because something like Kayazi charging in the back under the Butcher's feet and Signs and Ashland's feet. Yeah, you can. Oh, but she doesn't do damage. She just does to hit.
Yes.
Shredders,
But at any rate, you can-
Shredders are at 9 already.
What?
9 dice?
9 dice.
No, they
What?
4 for attack, 4 for...
But what- we're talking-
for
we're
under,
talking-
under
Oh, and
Oh,
manifest.
you're talking total.
No, that's what I'm saying. They would need 9
No,
dice.
you don't need to roll your attack and damage at the same time.
He's saying like 7 damage dice.
He's saying 7 of dice.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, normal 2 plus a charge plus backstrike plus fury plus a location if it's a beast or a jack
Yeah.
plus whatever. Doesn't matter. Point
Anyway.
is, don't roll quickly.
Yeah.
Katie was going to say something.
Oh, I was also going to say, don't do the math in your head about what you think that their beast.
Yeah.
Announce your
Or senior's
intentions too.
defenses.
Like if you're going to roll dice, just say like, okay, this is dice minus X. X. you know.
I'm using X weapon, it's damage X, your armor is Y. Like, if you're a good player, you've already done that math in your head, so help your opponent out.
Yeah.
It's
Like-
a magical moment when new players figure out the concept of dice minus.
Yeah.
Like, like I do a lot of demos, and well, not anymore, much anymore, but when I used to do more demos and stuff at conventions, like Katie would talk about with the math with to hit, where you're like, your mat is 6, you rolled a 7, 7 plus 6 is 13, his defense is blah, blah, blah. Once you get to the point of dice minus X for damage, it's like, oh, that makes a shitload of sense and is way easier.
Yep. But it still helps to say my POW is X, your armor's Y. Therefore
Therefore it is dice off. Yeah.
Well, because then the other thing is
That's
they could
gotta be Z.
unintentionally cheat because unless they play Circle or Legion as their second faction, like they can easily forget what somebody's defense is
Yep.
for a particular beast.
Yep. And so they can be making assumptions.
Well, there's buff factions or debuff factions. I mean,
Yeah.
there's all
Right.
sorts of
Yeah.
things that could
Like
be
there are
happening.
things
You
and
have a
they may-
buckler, but I have a chain weapon, and I'm in your back arc, but you're in melee, and
You know, like there are things that even a good player will sometimes forget. So it's good to list your assumptions before you start rolling dice and
And then
telling
saying
them
you
what
hit
you
and
telling
then
them what
they're
you
dead.
did. Yeah,
And it's like, okay.
yeah, yeah. Next, Ralph.
All right, next one's this is a sloppy, basically the play sloppy cheater, and this is one that I see happen a lot, and we've mentioned this briefly in the past, where you're sitting down and it's 2 people, and you're both playing sloppy. I'm not saying bad sloppy, but you're moving models around, you're being a little fudgy here,
Playing loose.
You're playing loose. Okay, we'll go with loose over-
Hypothetically, you move models and then go back and say, well, I want to be 3 inches back. It's legal. He could have moved there. But by the rules of the game, you can't legally move 8 inches forward and then 3 inches back, but you could have moved 5 inches forward.
right.
And sometimes you do that.
Yeah,
that
so
sort of
people will
stuff.
play loose, and then what happens is, like, me and Jeremy are playing, and we're both playing loose, but then somewhere around turn 2, in my mind, I'm like, I'm done playing loose, and no way do I tell Jeremy this, so then it's Jeremy's turn, he moves a model, I'm like, nope, stop you, we're done with the looseness, it's stuck there, you lost the game because of that, and you're like, Jeremy's like, but you just did that 75 times in your last turn. Well, that's
the past.
Previous turns don't count. That happened right now, and then that's
Live in the now.
and that's where the bullying will come in, and
Yep.
even my next type of character will come in quite a bit. You're both playing losing, suddenly one person's like, "Hey, now it's time for seriousness."
But they don't tell you until you've done the thing that screws you for being serious.
Well, at some point in their mind, it's switched to all the actions in this turn are going to matter. So all the actions in this turn need to be played tightly.
Well, it's kind of like
it creates
round
gotchas.
one. Usually, top of one for sure
Top of one.
is like an irrelevant turn. Like it does 99 games out of 100. What the first player does top of one, apart from obviously like general positioning, but like. Who cares if you shield walled? Who cared if you did this? Or it doesn't matter because all that's going to matter is the physical positioning of your models, the bottom or the top of two, because that's when the game really starts.
Yeah.
But
Except that game doesn't have a concept of really starts.
the game doesn't have the concept. But like Brian's saying, like those first couple turns, people kind of just throw shit around. I'm like, oh, it's top of one. I forgot to allocate focus. Obviously, my jacks are all going to run.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'll just put the fucking focus on, dude. At top of one, of course your jacks are running. But turn two, you forgot to allocate. You go
screwed.
fuck yourself.
Yeah, and I have definitely seen that happen.
And sometimes it's not even turn 2 they're fine. It's when it's turn 3 they're
yeah, it's like all of a
Right.
sudden turn 3 because, yeah.
But there's some validity behind it, which is the dangerousness of it, because it's true. Top of one, you forgot to allocate. Whatever, dude, just put it. We're all like that. But there's a point where you can't anymore in the game. But like Brian said, if one person is caught onto the fact that you're at to this point in the game, and the other one's not at that point in the game, you have a problem.
Yeah. And there's no way to there's no good way to say, so just so you know, I know we've been playing this other game the previous turns. Right now, we're going to start playing War Machine. There's no good way to say that.
There is though when you let them allocate your focus, be like, it's okay this one time, but please don't do that again. Done.
Yep.
Exactly.
Except that's not what people do.
But that's what they should do.
Yeah, they wait for their opponent.
They wait for their opponent to make a mistake. Wait, the other way that would be perfectly legitimate to do it is, all right, I went first. It's now top of two. From now on, I just want to point out, I'm not going to play sloppy, and I'd appreciate if you didn't play sloppy. First turn, both, whatever, it's cool. I'm not going to misallocate. I'm not going to play my guys sloppy, because you're doing it on their own turn. And then their opponent has their turn to police them under that new player agreement you guys have, and then they can police you that way as well. But saying, okay, my last turn, these rules weren't in effect, but now on your turn they are, is kind of an ass move.
Yeah.
Or what also happens is they could be in effect on your turn. Like you do sloppy, 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 and then you're top of three, and you play clean.
Sure.
Because in your head, you've reached that point. And,
sure.
You play 100% clean, you do nothing wrong, you don't do any takebacks, you play your turn perfectly. So you aren't being hypocritical when you expect their turn 3 to also be clean. Except you didn't communicate.
Right.
Because that's what the issue isn't that you play sloppy and then they're supposed to be clean, which is kind of what you were implying with that.
Well, there is that kind of person.
And that's super dickish. But what also happens is that you play clean because you've decided it's that time, and then they don't play clean. And you're like, dude, I just played my turn clean because we're in clean mode now.
Right.
Yeah.
And that particular form of attempting not to cheat, the problem is that the people that try to solve that problem by just playing clean every game, every turn, actually get accused of being assholes. They're the ones that get accused of being jerks. Like, I had decided, this was like last year, I decided the way I was going to solve this problem, because I was seeing this happen in my games, both to me and by me, to my opponents, and it was just frustrating me a lot. And I was like, I'm just going to start playing all my games clean. And I don't think I told any of you four in this room, but like I told Jordan, because Jordan and I had a real problem with it, where he's a good friend of mine, Jordan Washu, no one knows him, but when him and I play each other, we get angry with each other sometimes, and so we decided when we play each other, it doesn't matter if it's the most casual game in the world, it's clean from turn one. There's no takebacks, there's no, I forgot my focus, it's just the game, because that way neither one of us gets mad later. And I was trying to play that way on a Wednesday night, and I sat down and I played a guy, and I was like, oh, I forgot to allocate focus. Oh, well, I forgot, and I moved on with my turn. And then my opponent forgot to allocate focus, and he was like, it's a casual game, why can't I allocate focus? And then I felt like the bad guy. Like, it's actually a difficult thing to do the right way. Because you do, no matter when it happens in the game, if you're playing against an opponent who is playing the War Machine system, and they have any jacks alive, and they go past the focus allocation step to the next phase, and they start moving models, and they needed that jack to do work that turn, they are shit out of luck. Like, they just are. And Hordes doesn't have that problem, and it's great. Hordes has the next turn I'll deal with the fact that I'm bad at math on my Fury, and that's a whole different problem. But War Machine straight up is just like, oh, I guess I lose this game because my 10-point heavy can't do any work this turn.
Well, I mean, but they
Hordes
do.
says I forgot to heal my beast.
Well, yeah, then that happens too.
So there is a problem.
There's a very, very analogous one there.
Yes.
Which is,
Okay, that's a good point. And And the problem is, I at least always feel bad telling my opponent no about that. But when it's a game and you're playing in a tournament, even if it's a local steamroller, it matters who wins and loses. You care. We come out to play a competitive game because we care about winning and losing. It's something that is important to us. And so it's really hard not to feel like a jerk being that way, even if you police yourself that way. Even when you play in a way that you never ask for any takebacks like that, it's really hard to be that way to the other guy without coming across as a jerk.
Well, I don't know. I don't care as much as you.
That's true. That's true. You don't.
You're a girl. It's okay.
Home Depot will explain it.
Did you bring some cookies for us to eat?
I brought myself a cookie to eat.
You did.
Nathan shared it with me.
But anyway, that one particularly really hits a delicate spot for me because it's very difficult.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on that one?
Well, some of the people that posted on there, the main thing is just talk with your opponent. They'll solve almost everything.
Very true.
Just pure communication, because otherwise, then you're going to have those moments that make you feel like an ass. You're just like, hey, I don't want to take any takebacks because I want to improve my gameplay. This is how I want to play.
What's weird to me is that the way the game works, and it's almost frustrating to me that it's the sort of thing where you have to couch it that way. You can't just say, let's play a clean game. You have to say, I'm not going to ask for any takebacks. I don't want you to ask for any takebacks.
And that's true. Some metas play that way. I think Europeans play more that way. They're considered. That's how they play. And I'm not saying it's an American sloppy thing because other people do it across the world. But sure. I think in general, from what I've talked to and seen, Europeans that's kind of the assume we're playing clean. Why would I play sloppy? Like why? Right. But other groups it's like, well, why does it matter? So I mean, it's definitely a group to group thing. And then of course cons is where it's a big problem because then you have all these different
metas collide. Anyway, I'm sorry, I kind of got on my soapbox.
That's fine.
Kinda. Well, the other thing on that note, and I know we have talked about this before, is declaring your intention. So like, if you are towing the zone, say that you're towing the zone because models do get bumped.
Yeah, there's no harm in just saying that model's in the zone. So like a minute later, when something bumps it, you're like, oh,
each of these models is base to base and in shield wall. Would you agree with that? Excellent. I'm moving on. These are things that take a second to say and are worth saying.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you're a half an inch outside of zone, you're like, my intention is for that. Like, well, that's nice, but it's not.
That's like, exactly. I intended to win this game.
I still love. I know I've told this story before. I don't care. I'm telling it again. Was at a convention against somebody who I don't remember, and he was a good opponent. Other than this, it's just a funny anecdote. This was kind of right when that announce your intention thing really was hitting the bricks. Like, it was out there. Because I think this is when that tournament where the person, ran a model near a flag and didn't announce base-to-base, so they, got eliminated from the Invitational, last War Machine weekend or whatever. So... it's one of his turns, and he moves a model up over here, and then he moves another model up over there, and then he goes to move a jack in between them. The jack won't fit, and he goes, my intention was to leave room for the jack to move through. And then he just, pivots it up, moves it forward, and sets it down on the other side. And I was like, what?
My intention was for physics to work differently.
Well, we were in the losers bracket, and I was drunk, so I just let it go. But it was the most surreal thing. I'm like, there's announcing your intention, and there's announcing your intention, and these aren't the same thing.
How did that jack one hop?
My intention was to roll boxcars. Oh, well, you announced it, so I guess
it was your intention.
Very good.
I'm like, what?
I should try that in my next tournament. Next time I roll Snake Eyes. My intention was to hit.
Yeah. All right. My next one is
you have to say that before you roll, though.
Sure, I'll do that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm okay with that. Before every roll.
Just sit down. My intention is to win. Yes! Just a race to say that first.
My next one is very similar to the bully cheater, but it's the exact opposite. It's the charismatic cheater. It's someone who, when you
none of us.
None of you. No one in this room. Jeremy might be.
I'm probably the only one in this room that ever struggles with this one.
I struggle with this. I think people give me way more than they should.
Yes,
probably.
That's probably
because they have assumed they're going to beat you. So they if I'm playing someone who's
she's a girl gamer, so
it's like she's a girl. She can have whatever attack she wants. She's going to lose anyway.
Whatever,
no,
princess.
It's really annoying. Yeah, I know. Thank you, Gary. It's really annoying because then I'll beat them and then I feel bad.
Yeah, well, that's where the weirdness comes in. You feel bad, but yeah, no, you're playing someone, and you're like, man, he's not yelling at me. He's just being so friendly, but I think he's doing everything wrong. Like that's not legal, and that's not legal. But he's
so friendly.
And the charismatic cheater is also kind of combined. He's playing too quick, so you can't slow him down. But he's always smiling, patting you back. He's buying you a beer, and then he's just doing the weirdest shit, and you're just like. I think I'm being touched in the wrong place, but he's smiling. I don't know how to respond.
So he's like date raping you in the game.
Basically, I know we're trying to avoid the.
I feel like that analogy went to a weird place.
Well, except it kind of is like you feel it's wrong, but he's kind of like
not really
gently.
sure why.
Yeah, it's like skeevy, and he's kind of guiding you that way, and you're like this person's being horrible, but he's being so charming about it.
People walked up to him and high-fived him. And bought him a beer. This guy is like a legendary person who travels the scene. I mean, everyone loves him, and he's
everyone seems to really like this guy.
So obviously, I'm just wrong because everything he's doing.
Well, you don't want to be the guy to stand up and be like, "No, I don't want to have sex."
This does happen a lot with like the big con people, and then not necessarily that they're cheating at the time, but you'll see. And I've been there before. Like we were at War Machine Weekend, and like I was playing in the LCQ or whatever. I'm playing against a guy, and like the game's going well for me. Yeah. Like so, I'm kind of relaxed, and so like Keith's here, and I'm talking to Keith and whatever, and then I'll tell you, Jeremy will walk by, and I'll talk to Jeremy for a second. And go, oh yeah, no, that's fine. You hit the good for you, and like I'm only half paying attention to the game because I'm just high fiving all these people. Yeah. And so you kind of get that. Aura.
And then you roll really 4 dice and attack and you didn't boost. Yeah, of course I roll 4 dice. So you move on, you just do whatever. You do all these things.
Look at all the friends I have. I'm not a cheater.
And sometimes so it's, and that's actually a thing too, is where you think you're in such control of the game where you just get this weird thing, this vibe going.
Well, the other problem
and
with
then Andy
that
rolls boxcars and you lose.
Specifically with Nathan, I've had this problem because you talk to other. There's a cabinet there. You talk to other people like as you're playing the game and you're like not really paying attention to what I'm doing. I feel like I can't do anything until you return your attention to the game.
So if you play at normal speed, you're going to be in that fast player dice scooping thing because I'm not paying attention to your dice regardless of how long they're sitting on the table.
Correct. Right. And so then I feel like, well, I'm just going to sit here and be polite, and you've stolen my time. Because I'm being polite.
But there are charismatic people who I mean, they do all sorts of shady things, but they're just so friendly. You're like, and if I complain, then I'm the big. There's no way you can complain without you becoming the bad guy. It's another one. It's like you're the victim no matter what happens, and your opponent's doing these terrible things.
Yeah, and the thing about a charismatic cheater, and I think I do occasionally struggle with this. I'll be quite honest. The thing about a charismatic cheater is, part of the reason that they get away with things is because they're charismatic in all aspects of their life, and so they probably are like this in all aspects of their life that they get away with things. Katie is forever angry about some of the things I get away with in real life. Never mind War Machine. She's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, it just kind of works out. Like Katie is genuinely lucky, but I just talk my way into things.
Well, or, you
lucky. I work.
You flirt your way out of a speeding ticket or something. Sure. It's that kind of attitude.
You flirt your way into a Home Depot.
You flirt your way into a Home Depot.
How does that work out for you at Home Depot?
The speeding ticket, I do pretty well.
You do pretty well with the speeding ticket. But that's the thing, is they just life just kind of works out for them, and life's great, and so they're in a good mood, and so they're happy with you because life's going to work out. They're going to win. It's going to be fine. They aren't, even the ones that are going to be upset at you when you call them on it, you should still be calling. That's the thing with a lot of these cheating things that we're talking about is, try to give the other person at least the benefit of the doubt that they're cheating accidentally and call them on it.
That's very important.
Because if they're cheating intentionally and you call them on it, great, they're an asshole, you should call them on it. And if they're cheating accidentally and you call them on it, they're going to be glad you called them on it so they stop doing it. Either way, you should call them on it.
In general, and this is, I don't want to, the internet drama that happened, I'm not going to...
Let's not go there.
Well, no, I'm going to say it started out because a person started off on this super aggressive assault mode thing, and same thing here. If you start off in this assault mode, you think you see something wrong, you don't know if you're right or wrong, you saw something, and you go just complete viral rabies, a crazy madman attack, it no longer matters if you're right or wrong because you took the approach of an asshole, and now you've ruined your whole point, even if you were right, even if you're wrong, it's irrelevant because you went crazy.
Yeah, calling the judge is not a jerk move, ever.
Even saying, hey, do you realize you rolled 3 dice and you didn't boost, or something like, you can just say, hey, and the guy's like, oh, oops. I mean, there's all sorts of ways that you can address the situation.
People on the Twitch feed naming names?
No, nobody's naming names, but somebody's asking, please, people give Jeremy whatever he wants to give him to stop talking.
Yeah, so I mean, you can call it and say, hey, that just happened, but you can't, how did you charge? You didn't have movement. Or you can just say, sorry. That's pretty direct rule, but I mean, you can question someone when they're doing something in a polite way. You don't need to go crazy mad. Because I've played someone, and I've done something wrong, and the guy goes, well, why are you fucking cheating? And I'm like, what? Wow, what happened?
Where'd that come from?
Yeah, I'm like, well, he's like, you just did that. You remember your left arm, you couldn't have done that. I'm like, oh, yeah, sorry. It was my mistake. I just wasn't trying to. But they start out saying, well, why the fuck are you cheating? I've been on the under that. I've seen people do that at tables next to me. Like, why the fuck are you cheating?
Well, why were you cheating?
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, it's a good question, but you can.
Because I'm forgetful. Sorry.
Well, it's like, oh, I wanted to win the game.
Because crippled system tokens aren't yet retail available.
Yeah,
That's true.
Because I wanted to win the game. I don't know. Is that a problem? I wanted to win. Now cheating helped.
It's usually why people cheat.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you have people who cheat because it's fun.
Yeah.
And they want to see if they can get away with.
So, Chris, here, and I guess on a side note for that, what's interesting, especially in the accusation side of cheating, if you have a player, if you have a person who's charismatic and people think someone causes them a cheating, you get this weird like vibe from people. But War Machine has some players who are more introverted and more quiet, and if they get accused of cheating, people just start to gang up on them because, well, that guy is not too friendly or popular, so obviously he's a cheater. But that guy over there was smiling, so obviously he's not cheating. Like we get these weird assumptions going in the community, and that's so frustrating to watch.
The way the person handles themselves and the way the internet reacts to them, or just in general, the public reacts to them when being accused of doing something wrong, is it should be everyone should be held at the same level, no matter what.
And it would be nice if we lived in that fantasy world, but we don't.
Yeah, I know. It's annoying to see that.
It is annoying, and well, I don't think it's a problem we can solve right now.
Yeah, it's not. It's just it was a side tie,
but it is a good point.
It's a side effect of our community that
I think that's a side effect of any community. I think you'll have a really hard time getting rid of.
And I mean it's a nerd hobby. Nerds participate in it. A large percentage of nerds are introverted. So it's a very real thing
less
here.
and less nerds are introverted because it's expanding, so you're getting more extroverted.
But they're still in it, you know what I mean? And there's still those quiet nerdy guys or gals or whatever that. Well, yes, this hobby's 99% guys. Shocker.
I think it's 98
we
now. 98 to 97.
Our woman attendance this year to like 8.
I will say,
at all of War Machine.
It was interesting, and somebody like Professor Lust, who's all about the sociology and stuff, I'm sure would have a field deal with this. But it was interesting at War Machine Weekend to notice that the most women I saw in any of the serious tournaments or whatever was maybe 2, and Who's the Boss had like 8. Yeah, like it's just something about the mindset of the genders that they were just
they can't handle complex tension and stress.
Oh my god! Please move on.
Playing a horror. Yeah.
Good job, Andy.
I had an idea of what you're going to get for Christmas. Now I have a different one.
Is it coal?
That would be really nice of me if I did that.
Yeah, punch in the face for quite a while. All right. So then there's things like sometimes there's this attitude. I guess the next thing I called it. Well, there's like the subtle / like bump cheater where you're in a game and you it's like people think like you're like, man, I should be winning this game and I moved that one model wrong last turn, but really I'm up and I'm a good player and maybe if I just you do some subtle little fixing like in your mind you're ahead, you're a good player.
We're moving out of the realm of accidental, excusable cheating. By the way,
you're making these subtle cheats, but in your mind it's acceptable because quite frankly you meant to do that. You didn't actually make that move, but you're fixing it without calling attention to it.
Intention though?
When mentally,
you charge, you place down the base, and you're like, no, I actually meant to be at reach of my weapon.
I'm not even,
no.
I'm saying
after the fact.
I have a solid example, an example I think that a lot of us are guilty of, and most of us would think, well, come on, that's not really cheating. Is it's halfway through your opponent's turn, or whatever, and you look down, and one of your Iron Fang pikemen is facing the wrong direction.
Yep.
You ran the unit forward, and that guy you accidentally sent down backwards. Of course he's facing forward.
Yep.
That's fucking cheating.
What's great
He wasn't facing forward.
What's great is the person that doesn't even touch the model because they don't have front arcs painted on, and so then they just like, oh, he's facing backwards. Well, I'm not going to say anything. Next turn he'll just charge, and I'll just do this when I charge him.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean,
there's all varying degrees of that. It's all cheating, and it's all things people should be very, very careful of.
And one of the oh, sorry, go ahead.
To your point, I have deployed my models on the deploy line backwards sometimes.
Sure, and they're only running first turn, so I mean,
it's bad when like an Abbey 2 list.
Yeah.
I want a free charge on my beast. Oh, none of them can see you because I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
Like there are situations where it's bad.
Right. I mean, but it's you move the unit up and oops, one of them's the wrong way. I mean, let's be honest. Like, especially like casual games, it happened. And you know what? You've turned it around because it's his turn. You go, oh, come on,
or you have a unit of 10. You're playing a spam list of like 30 infantry.
Yeah,
and one of them's back here.
You run your units forward. You realize, I forgot to move this one model. So you just kind of pick him up and you put him forward. Obviously, he should have been forward. So you just kind of fix it.
That one model's called a soulless escort.
Yeah, you just push him forward.
goddamn soulless escorts.
And
in Red.
sometimes people don't even say anything, but a lot of times people don't even. I see people all the time. They just
I've done that.
They don't say it. They just move forward.
I moved my whole army, and then I realized there are 3 soulless escorts sitting on a deployment line. I'm like, he's part of that unit. He's part of that unit. He's part of that unit. Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
The one I see a lot is accidentally knocking your model over, and then when you pick them up, you don't put them in the same spot.
Right.
Yep.
That's a combination of cheating and incompetence. I never know what to call, which is.
Well, but the problem is it is 100% cheating brought on by being clumsy or excited or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's worse on like you go to a store where the hill terrain is like this tall and at a slope.
Oh.
And it's like,
Well,
I played on boards. I'm like, man, I've called. Okay, you and I are going to be cheating all game accidentally. Let's just admit that's happening now because you bump the table and everything moves somewhere
The
else.
hills are like a cone.
yeah, like,
it's like this shit ain't happening.
I'll get out a proxy base and my opponent and I are like, it's there, and it moves, and we try dice and it moves, and we're like,
I
look,
used 3
it's there,
casino
right?
dice to prop up a proxy base. Like it's like we just need to make this tower to hold this bitch halfway up this thing.
And then I was like, oh, but I need my dice this turn, son of a bitch.
Or you have a table that's like this, that's just really smooth. You put your model on it, and somebody goes thunk.
Yeah, people don't. If you don't use felt,
Andy, don't hit the table during the podcast.
Unfortunately, Iowa because they run big events. They don't have felt on the table. It's literally just flat
Yep.
surface. So someone 4 tables
like-
over bumps their table. All models on 4 game slide.
I think they take a Zamboni over their tables at the
Yeah, it
Mayhem,
is-
at
it
the
is-
Mayhem store.
it is the most slick surface in the world. I hate.
And we're
playing-
joking and laughing about ways that you can do this accidentally. But I've also 100% been in games where I'm measuring with my tape measure for my heavy. Oh, look, you made the charge. That was amazing. And it's the same kind of cheating.
Yeah.
Like, it is. Maybe it's more premeditated. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just as accidental. It's just the same kind of
Yeah.
cheating.
Whether it's subtle, whether it's entitlement. Like, well,
Yeah.
you know what? I'm obviously smart enough to do it.
Yeah,
I'm not
obviously, I'm at
mention
12 inches, not 12 and a half.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah. So there's all levels of it, but it's still really annoying. And I see, and unfortunately, that's the thing that's is happening more and more.
And I'll be quite honest, the real problem with that particular kind of cheating is you only have 2 options. You can call a judge over and get them DQ'd / put the model back where you think it was, which may not be where it was, or let them get away with it. Because the 2 of you are not going to mutually agree where that model was, unless like, maybe in the situation where they knocked it down off a hill, maybe the 2 of you will come to an amicable agreement, but you should call a judge in that situation. Because there is no way you're going to recover that game state between the 2 of you chatting about it as friends. One of you is going to get his way, and one of you isn't. And that person may win because of it, and then the other person is going to be pissed.
The other thing I want to point out, I don't know how you cheat. I know I cheat myself specifically, is if you're short. Mm-hmm. You can't, like, I can't see, like, unless
You can't get the angle to make sure you're in the charge lane or whatever.
Yeah, and so, like, I'm just relying on the person that I'm playing with telling me whether or not I made my charge if I pre-measure it.
Yeah.
Like, I can't see it because I can't get up over my model.
You're so dumb, Katie.
I know.
Not only did you stupidly be born a woman, like already a terrible idea.
I don't know why.
Provably a terrible idea.
I know.
you make less money.
You make less money. You're worse at driving. You can't get stuff delivered from Home Depot. Like,
we could go on, but
we could go on about all the terrible mistakes. But you also were born short.
I know.
Also, really dumb of you.
I know.
Next time, be born a tall man. It's a lot better.
I'll try.
Okay.
And hopefully everyone knows this, but you should not measure above the
Also
head
white.
of your 4-inch tall jack where its charge lane is. Try to measure along the table, along its base. I know it's a little bit harder. I know you have to be a little more careful. Like, parallax is a thing, and if I see one more colossal walk 9 inches, I'm going to lose my shit. Like, I'm sorry, measure along the table.
Measure along the base for a
Yeah, it's nice that from where you're standing, it looks like your colossal moved 4 inches, but it moved 9, and I'm very upset about
So
it.
that's how you cheat.
Here's what I was almost thinking of doing is on a colossal base it's so large you could fit like a little mini tape measure on the base and make it part of the terrain where you actually could pull out the tape measure out in the front of it, mark it, and then slide
What's
it
going to be
up.
really fun is you're pulling that tape measure and the colossal creeps forward.
Because the spring's too strong.
Yeah.
Son of a...
Look at this,
Look
I'm
how far
charging
it
across
goes.
the whole table.
And I would
It's
say,
only 8 inches.
Red line's a great spell.
and I like that we're bringing this whole topic up because years ago we never used proxy base. People didn't use proxy
Nope.
bases or things, and suddenly that started being a base. Like I don't charge any kind of halfway important charge or moderate charge. Where people put bases down now, people have all these widgets to charge things. Years ago, no one thought about doing that. And I think some of these things people don't realize is becoming more and more common, and it's just a thing where be more aware of what's happening. And if you are a true cheater, hopefully the more subtle stuff will go away, so we can identify these cheaters better and get them out of the game.
Yeah.
Because
Well, I think that PP has noticed a trend in cheating, and this is me speculating 100%, and that's why...
Spoilers.
I need to see if a corner case is coming up later.
And that's why I think they're going to start coming down really hard on people who are suspected of cheating on purpose.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be... I don't think it's going to be like a... I think they're going to start trying to make examples of it.
I mean, I don't really want to bring it up in a sense, but if you're playing clean, you shouldn't have to worry about anybody filming your games as well.
That's actually, I was going to bring up the filming. Exactly.
I want to interject something related to what we were just talking about before we jump to the video thing, real quick. Martial Discipline is not a spell that every model in the game has. It's related to what we're talking about here. If you're playing clean, your models don't get to pass through your other models. That's a thing. It's actually, there's a rule that, for instance, Xerxes has that's a really good really good ability when your models can charge through other models. Most models in the game don't have it. You'll see this at tournaments a lot. And I would argue that this is generally an accidental form of cheating, but I've seen very good players do it to their advantage as well. Which is like, oh man, like you were saying with the 2 infantry models, what my intention was for him to fit between there. Like, I've seen people bring a model that they're charging in between the two models on the either side, bump them both aside, and then continue the charge. Like, that happens a lot, and it's the same kind of
Another real common one is you line up your unit, 5 men across, 5 men behind them. There's your 10-man unit on your deployment line, base to base, right at your 10-inch or 7-inch, whatever.
Yep.
And then turn 1, you charge forward, and you charge any angle
except straight
to the left or the right. They would instantly contact their neighbor.
Yeah.
Like, but this guy charges there, that guy charges there. Because
unless you deploy on the outside first.
Sure, but
people do that. They put base to base in charge of them. And I've actually started...
They put base to base in charge across each other. And
yeah. And
out of shield wall.
Units,
yeah, shield wall guys will be base to base and they'll charge across each other.
Yeah.
And it's like...
Because cross charges are almost always better, yes, but you're cheating.
Yeah.
I realized that once. So when I do play, I always give myself like a little bit of space between each thing.
I always start from the outside.
Which is
that
good
works too. But yeah, I just wanted to bring it up because it's very related to what we're talking about here.
Or just still grotesque because they can
Did you
fly
have
over each other.
videotaping first before I sent? You want to? Any thoughts on it?
Well, just videotaping. I mean, it's become a thing in this game. I mean, there's a lot of places that are just videotaping things. There's an audience for them.
We've done it.
People enjoy watching these games.
Yeah.
If you're playing a good, clean game, you shouldn't have to worry about being videotaped.
The argument...
Flip side, just because you're watching somebody on videotape doesn't mean that any of this that happens was intentional. Because again, we talk about all of this can be unintentional. We all do shit like this in our games. If you videotaped every one of your games and watched every one of the games again, you're going to see yourself martial discipline through 2 of your guys.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to see yourself charge an extra half an inch because you bumped a model. You're going to see yourself do a half dozen of these every game you ever play because it's hard not to.
And I've gotten angry about some of these things that turned into it. And in fact, I previously on a podcast called out another player about something that I felt was dirty play in a tournament we went to, and we don't have to hash that back out. But my point is that something that's hit home for me as a podcaster who wants to just like yell at the world about all these people that cheat is A, a lot of those people are probably doing it accidentally, and B, I cheat all the time.
Yeah.
Like let the person without any sin throw the first stone here, guys. Like if you are really a War Machine player that has never cheated and has ever made it past,
you're a liar.
Well, maybe there's someone out there.
No.
If you've never ever cheated and you made it past round 1 of a tournament, never cheating, I would be shocked.
It's not even about winning. Nobody has never charged across their own models.
The person that's played 2 casual games in their life, maybe.
No, because they won't have known a rule.
Oh, that's true. They probably cheated. I mean? Yeah, they cheated through lack of knowledge. You're right. So everyone cheats. Like, we all cheat. Yes, there are people that do it egregiously, and the reason we have judges at tournaments is so that when someone does it in a tournament and you have that specific moment that just happened, you can call them on it. But watching the hundreds of videos of War Machine hours that are out there, you're going to see mistakes that are mistakes you also make.
No, flip side, if you watch 100 videos and you see, hey, this guy was in 30 of them, and all 30 he made like a 6.
That's different.
You can catch the spikes, but yeah, every
That's
game
different.
someone's going to do something wrong. I mean,
Yeah.
Some people say, well, I'm not going to record my games anymore because then people say I'm a
I've heard
cheater.
people say that.
And it's like, you know what? If don't cheat, but I mean, it's a joke comment.
We record games at our local store,
Yeah.
and we'll be watching the video recap. This happened in Nathan and I's game, and we'll be talking about something like, oh, well, that's not legal at all. What I just did. That was 100% illegal.
Yeah.
Sorry, Nate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean, And again, that comes to the point where if you see something, you don't need to attack it on the web and go, "Oh my God, that guy's awful because it's one. I found this one thing in this one game and he's a terrible person." Like, no, give it up.
On the other hand, there are trends.
I will say this also about the chicken. While we're kind of right now talking about the Chicken Little, like don't panic and everything, and this is kind of dangerously close to naming names, but I'm not going to name names. But it's just along the line of calm down. Relax. Like, as much as cheating is a big thing right now, people are exploding about it, we still are at the grand total of twice ever that people have had to be DQ'd from an event. Ever. From an official PP event.
From an official PP.
In the history of Privateer Press running events, it's only happened twice. And both of those people I've seen play Queen tournaments all the time, so it's not even like, we aren't at the place where we have these monsters that we need to get out of our game. It's not that bad.
On the flip side, what's interesting is also people. No one's going to call a person and say, "Hey, that X person's an unknown cheater." There are people who are very questionable, who all the competitive players know about, and no one ever is going to call them because no one wants to be the guy who calls those people out. It's just a thing you don't want to do. You don't want that stigma on you.
Right.
But there is people who people are nervous about, and I think a lot of people go into tournaments thinking, it's all flowers and wonderfulness, but you have to be a little on your guard a little bit. And I think because of the competitiveness, because of like the people qualifying for events, that people are. If it's, I think a lot of it's in the heat of the moment cheating. They're in heat of the moment they're pushing a mile. In heat of the moment they're nudging a thing. In heat of the moment they're doing the wrong thing, and they're not trying to be bad people, but they're still cheating.
I don't disagree that that's true for 99% of cases. However, I've had today I had a good friend tell me that if they get paired up against a specific person, and this is not something that's been on the internet or anything, so this person, you don't know who this person is. But if they get paired up against this is a person they know about, they know to be a cheater, I know to be a cheater, you guys probably do too. If they get paired up against them at the tournament, they literally said they're just going to not play. They're just going to say, you know what, I don't want a tournament badly enough to play against you. You ruin my fun, you cheating cheater, I'm out.
Well, that's not only the cheating, because there are some... That's also the person's demeanor.
But in this particular case, I don't think it has to be.
But it can be.
It can be, certainly. Yeah. There are people that I don't want to play because of their demeanor that I've thought about doing that simply based on their demeanor, but that's an entirely different discussion. Don't be an ass is a completely different thing than don't be a cheater. Many asses are cheaters, but you can be one or the other.
Sometimes dicks fuck pussies.
Yeah.
No.
But my point is, like, I would love to see the game get to a point where people like that get judges called on them and do get DQ'd, because there are a handful of people like that. And I don't know that it'll ever happen because of the stigma Brian's mentioning. That there are people that the vast majority of top level people know that person X happens to be a person that you either is. I think the word that I've heard a top level player use the most frequently about a person like this is someone that when I play a game against them, I quietly request the TO to have a judge watch our game the whole time. What? And then cheating still happens at that table, and I've seen it happen, and it frustrates me that we allow it. And I'm not trying to start a witch hunt against anybody in particular, but I feel like over the last year I've seen it get more and more, and I feel like the reason it's getting more and more is because anyone feels like it's a witch hunt to point out a specific person doing it, and then the person gets away with it, and they get away with it, and they get away with it, and they win an event because they got away with it, and then they win another event because they got away with it, and they're like, oh, well, this must just be how the game is played. This is playing the game right. This is playing the game well. And I don't want to see War Machine slide into a place where playing the game well, because there are a lot of people that say to play Magic well, you must cheat.
Right.
That is a known, held opinion by many people about Magic, is that if you want to win big money at Magic, you have to cheat.
Well, it's kind of like and it depends on the flagrancy. It's kind of like the old saying that you could call holding on every football play ever. Yep. Every single play in every NFL football game. Somebody holds
interference, somebody. Any of those calls.
Yes.
Because that's how it's played. You hold just enough to not get caught, and then you let go before the ref throws his flag.
Yeah, and it's stuff where, like, the NFL had to have a rule about unprotected helmet to the face of a receiver. And, like, I don't want War Machine to get to the point where we have to have rules that are like, well, if you cheat a little bit, it's fine, but if you do this, then we're just going to destroy you. Like, I would like to see the community, without forming witch hunts, police that sort of play by doing things like calling judges. You don't have to be personal about it. You don't have to be aggressive about it. Just, when they cheat, call a judge.
Yep.
Just do that. That is the correct way to deal with the problem. Not to hate spam someone on the internet.
Because then it won't work, and if it doesn't work, they won't do it, and if they don't do it, they don't become known for doing it, and if they don't become known for doing it, then there doesn't have to be a witch hunt.
And
and nobody else does it, because if it doesn't work, people won't do it.
Exactly. And that's my point. And I want to make sure that gets across, because I feel like we all like I said, we've all cheated. We all want to be nice. None of us want to form a witch hunt here. That's not what we're trying to do. But at the same time,
I want
it's
to be
an
able
actual
to play
problem.
in a competitive event and enjoy a bit more.
I don't want to have to quit War Machine because you guys are ruining my fun. Like, that's the thing.
Exactly. My enjoyment of competitive War Machine has been diminishing. This has been a big part of it.
Yes.
Not the only reason, but it has definitely diminished my enjoyment of it.
Yeah, and well, I'm going to say this, and this whatever. I've seriously thought about not playing competitively next year. In the year 2015, I've seriously considered not playing competitively, and this is a big part of why. Because I don't want to be the only person policing this, and I don't want every game I play to feel like I have to police my opponent because I'm playing a known cheater, because all of the people that make it to round 3 are cheaters, because that's how you play the game, right? Like, I don't want to play in that world. I will find another hobby. I love War Machine. Love it. It's a great game. There are very few hobbies that I've had my entire life that I've poured anywhere near the time I've poured into War Machine.
Or money.
Or money. Like, I legitimately love it. And I might not play it competitively next year because this has become such a problem. From the beginning of 2014 to the end of 2014, my goal was to become a much more competitive player. And I did. And I think for the most part I did it cleanly. Maybe ask my opponents. Maybe they disagree. But I think I did it cleanly. And I did really, really well. And I made it into Masters events. And I did a lot of great things. And I got fucking cheated lots of times. And it makes me angry. And it makes me question whether I want to play next year at that level, or if I just want to play Who's the Boss and casual 2-caster, 2-player events because whatever.
I had so much fun in the 2-caster swap event, mystery partner event, because everyone was just having fun. They were goofing around. It was just so. It was War Machine.
The most fun I had all year was Brian, Trevor, and I did the 3-player team thing on because they were like short teams, and I was playing against. Hilariously, more cheating happened in those games than like all the games I played all year, because we were playing against guys that like it was their first tournament. They'd never put models on the table in a tournament. They didn't know any of the rules, and they would do something that was like whatever. And I was like, you know what? I don't even care, because like we're just all having fun, and none of us care if we win, and let's just have fun. But like a lot of the tournaments I go to just aren't that way anymore. They're cutthroat. I feel like people are going into it thinking I have to cheat to win, and it shows.
For many, many years, people would play out events just because they came to play War Machine. Now, dropping is such a more popular thing. At cons, I always understand.
Cons is different.
It makes because you want to do other things, but dropping is becoming more and more common. Because it's like, well, I lost, so I'm done. I came here to win. I dropped, so why am I still playing this game?
So anyway, I'm sorry. I know that was a little aggressive, but it's something that's bothered me for a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I understand. I understand. Yeah, and that's. Yeah, I agree with you in the fact we're just.
As a community, there's a right way and a wrong way to police this, and we've seen a wrong way happen this year, and I don't think we've seen a right way happen this year, and I'd like to see a right way happen.
Well, this week was a stupid week of how to address it.
How to police things, yes.
There were other things that have happened this year that were done just as badly.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I've talked to some of the other top guys too, and they were talking that they don't want to play in this type of environment either, and it's sad because they're ones that we've seen be at the top for a long time, and
anyway, I think we had a couple kinds of cheaters left.
Well, the next one's kind of a generic one. This one isn't really cheat. This one is. I have a question mark by. I call it dice cheaters, and I'm not saying someone who's pushing dice the right way or whatever. I'm talking about
You're talking the way Andy rolls.
No, well, I'm talking about someone owns 100 dice, and when they're rolling the dice, they roll whatever. They roll these 98 dice, but when it matters, they pull out these 2 dice, which they've had for 20 years, because they always roll 5s and 6s.
They're lucky.
They're lucky dice because they're probably this is maybe just a me pet peeve and not a real cheat. So that's why I have a question mark.
I personally have a problem with this.
But it's like, it's an important roll. Here are these ancient dice that are all, and then of course, look, it's 5 and 6, and they're probably bad fucking dice. If you only roll 5s and 6s all the time on the same die, throw the fucking dice away.
They're
and buy
lucky.
dice.
They're defective.
Yeah, they're defective dice.
They're lucky because they are.
Yeah, exactly. You won the defective dice slider. Oh, it's adorable. Now move on. I mean, I've been tempted at events. Okay, welcome to the event. Here's your set of dice for today. It's like break up new dice.
So that's
people get so sensitive with their dice, so you would drop from tournaments. I bet any given event you lose 1 or 3 players if you try to do that. Like, I'm not going to roll those dice. They're not my dice. I haven't gone through the ceremony with my dice, and I haven't mastered. They're not covered in my semen. I'm not going to use those dice.
Well, the best way to solve this is to just use the same dice the entire game.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is somebody will bring 30 dice, and
nope, you pick your 7 dice,
yes,
and that's what you use
and that's
the
what
entire
I do.
Game.
And every once in a while, I get mad at those 7 dice, and I throw them in a dumpster, and I buy 7 new dice. But I only have 7 dice.
Yeah. The same discussion about dice went over into the Blood Bowl community pretty well, because you only roll on 2 dice, so like if you have 2 dice that are really lucky, and you're going to break armor all the time. People are going to be injured all the time. You're going to make every single one of your passes because that dice just never seems to roll a 1. They've always then just given people, like I said, a new dice for every tournament, and it was really frowned upon right away, but after a while it just became accepted. And at that point, then it started becoming chase dice, where a certain event will have X die, that you can collect and have.
Right. It's part of the entries that you get your souvenir dice because it's issued to you at the event.
And in War Machine, if someone rolls their 5 and 6, go, okay, now roll the same dice for your leadership tech. You make a roll for everything.
Yeah, but no, I think it would be perfectly fine to make folks use a set of dice that's for the event.
I think Ralph is right, and people would have a problem with it. But I also think that Andy is right, and it would help.
I wanted.
You don't even have to necessarily even give to them. Like each, you can just put a half a dozen dice on each table, and they can share those dice.
Yeah.
You can do that. Like, here's 4 black ones and a white one because you need a location die.
Yeah, well, because I felt the opposite way where my dice have just been hot, and so then I felt guilty, so I changed my dice.
I was playing a game against someone, and their dice were in the middle. I picked up because I just grab whatever dice are near me sometimes. I picked up his dice, rolled an attack, and he's like, dude, please never touch my dice again. Because I rolled his dice against him, and he just stopped still and just stared at me like I had just done terrible things to his daughter. He's like, don't ever touch those dice. Especially roll them again. He did not know what to do. He just shut down.
Maybe it was for your own good because they are indeed coated with his semen. He was like, dude, don't touch my dice again. Seriously.
Well, I mean, something else that could be is just have people swap dice at the beginning of every game.
Again, you get this protectiveness that people rage over.
People are really crazy with their dice sometimes.
Why? I mean, they're like cheap little things.
Because people have their
don't let Brian ever touch your dice either.
I get like a whole bag of
my hands are covered in semen. Does that matter?
Yeah. Those are the dice that have gone through the I had 7 dice, and then they failed me so many times they've got put in the bag of shame.
You set those on fire.
One time Brian, I set a die on fire. That was fun. One time Brian walked up to a table. I was playing a game, and I'm moving some models of my dice in there. He just grabbed my dice and dropped them down his pants. Just boop! Scooped the fistful down his pants. They went.
We're not talking about Ralph. We're talking about Brian.
Yeah, Brian.
Yeah, Brian.
Ralph does not approve of that kind of nonsense.
Wait a minute. I have a question. It's a detailed question. Was it your pants or was it your boxers as well?
In the boxers as well. They went all the way.
It went all the way through.
They went through the tumbler.
They hit the dice bag, if you know what I mean.
Who picked up the dice that eventually fell?
I shoved them all. I took them out of I got them out and I put them back on the table for him.
And I glared at him in rage and horror.
Well, here's the thing. How long also did it take to fall to the ground? Because if they're tighty whities, then they'll...
No, they went straight through. I think he had boxers.
But he was so mad and so horrified. It was a perfect balance because he couldn't react. I got him at the exact zenith of that.
Your model went in a Twinkie. My dice went into his genitals. So, just saying, you might have gotten off lucky.
To be
of course, he'd known me for a couple years at this point, not
me for 2 days.
I think it was probably well-deserved.
You son of a bitch. I remember the time, speaking of dice, that Nathan and I were playing a game, and he got so mad that my dice were hot that he rolled them, and rolled snake eyes twice, and then he took my dice and threw them in the trash can. I was like, those are my dice!
Fuck those dice!
My dice hated you that game.
Tort mentioned that he rolled 4 6s against a local player, so his dice ended up in his opponent's mouth.
Oh my goodness.
I would not put someone else's dice in my mouth.
No,
It's amazing how many things in my opponent goes in my mouth after a game.
Especially if there's a geezy around.
Yeah. Anyway, so dice, and it honestly,
but
consciously or subconsciously, you are probably.
If you have lucky dice, you know damn well that they're warped.
They're.
So 2 things I think about implementing an event is one is a bucket of water. Because
I've heard people say that they want a bucket check some people's dice, and the problem with that is that becomes a witch hunt as opposed to just handing out dice, which is not a witch hunt.
I like the handing out dice. I might actually, for some of the ones, the steamrollers I run, is buy a couple cubes of dice and hand those out for the event and make it so you have to use these for a hit and damage rolls. You can use whatever dice you want for locations. And done.
Your locations matter to some extent.
They do.
Getting hit in the 1 is more effective than getting hit in the 5 and so on.
Unless it's a beast. And
I love being
awesome.
The 5 is amazing on a beast.
On a beast, yes, but not on a warjack.
On a warjack, 1 is great.
On a 4 with a warjack as well, because if they have an arc node.
Yeah.
Yeah. And anyway,
along those lines, but though, like we all know, well, yeah, 1 on a warjack. When I pointed out on lines, I'm like, being left-handed is a distinct disadvantage for warjacks, and people are like, ha ha ha. I'm like, no, I'm serious.
No, really,
it is mathematically bad for warjacks to be left-handed, and I had to, point it out to people.
Yeah,
damn it. The last thing I have is time cheaters. These are people who. Their clock is if it's a time. This was more of a problem for time turns because it's like, oh look, I forgot to start my time. Now I'll start my time even though I play for 7 minutes, and now they got a 17-minute turn. You have a 10-minute turn because you played by the rules, or stuff like that. And that I think we play death clocks all the time, so it happens a lot less to us.
But you do see this. The way you see this is, I think you see this combined with the bullying cheater is. The person never ever has a question on their time, but the moment the clock goes to you, they have 14 questions about your rules, and they want to see all your cards, and they want to people do that.
You're right, and I call it, and I'm like, look, and I've actually called a person like, hey, look, he always ask questions. It's a surprise. All these questions are always on my turn, never on. He doesn't plan ahead. So, and that's really weird to call because you just can't ask questions, but. You got to kind of get a sense of it's the third turn in a row. He's only all these what does the avatar do again, or they just ask redundant questions things that don't matter. They just keep asking again and again and again.
And they throw off your planning because it's not like, oh, your turn started and I had a quick question about something that just happened. It's like, so 5 minutes ago I had this thing happen and I have a question about it, and then you start moving a model and they ask you a question as you're moving the model and you forget to activate the model and you move on to something else. There are lots of ways that is.
That's subtle
innocuous things. What's your Warcaster's strength? What the fuck do you care?
Playing Aussian, who cares?
And then you forget to activate the model because it's what the fuck is my strength of my Warcaster?
Yeah.
That's when I learned to start people's clocks for them. Is somebody did that to me. Unlike the 15-point, you have 2-minute turns.
Yeah, mangled metal
thing. I was so pissed.
And
it took a 5-minute turn.
Yeah,
I was so angry. Anyway.
And the sad thing with the question thing, that's the problem with me is it's subtle, but it's extraordinarily malicious, and you will get people who do that on purpose because they know they can get away with it. It's such
and they already know the rule, but they don't have to prove that to you.
Sometimes I think the subtle cheaters like that are the worst people because they know it's technically not cheating, but they know it's fucking with the game system. Yeah. They're doing all these. People manipulate the social. It's almost social cheating, really. Is people really manipulate that social content of being good people and just subtly.
Well, because they know if your answer to their innocuous "What's your Warcaster strength?" question is to just give them your cards, then you look like the asshole again, like we were talking about with judge calling.
Oh, I didn't know that made you look like an asshole.
Well, there was this.
Well, if you ask somebody what's such and such defense, and they just scooped all their cards and just threw them in front of you. You'd think that guy was the biggest shithead on the planet.
No, everyone always does that to me when I ask them a question.
Well, to be fair, you're a girl. Let's talk about what happens to the men. When the men, it's
everyone always just hands me their cards when I ask them.
To be fair, it's a thing people do to newer players.
Yeah.
Because they know the newer player won't pick out the synergies in their cards. And if you're an experienced player, they're just like, oh, well, it's X. Yeah. And for them, it's like, well, the base defense is this. Here's all my cards that can do things. And you're like, wait, so, a rep player, to use an instance that I could theoretically do, how far do your halberdiers charge? They're speed 6. I could just tell you they're speed 6, here's all my cards, feel free to look through them. Or I could go through the effort of being I'm playing Aussian and I'm not an idiot, so I brought a House Guard Thane, so they threat 15 inches and then reform. And
and I don't know whether it's because I'm outgoing and friendly so people like me, or because I'm well known, or because I'm good enough at the game that they think that I'm going to get it anyway. But 90% of my games, those questions don't go that way. And my opponent answers the same way. I'll be like, oh, what's House Guard's threat? And they'll be like, oh, well, they're speed 6, but I have Desperate Place and Quicken, so they threaten 15.
Yeah.
And
but for a newer player,
for new players, that doesn't happen. And so it's interesting because experienced players will answer that way to other experienced players because they know the experienced player probably knows it anyway, and they're just we're both saying what we both already know, which is that with Desperate Pace and Quicken, they're 15.
Yeah.
But
that's a related topic, and that's a debatable. I mean, I agree.
But the question thing is slightly different.
But it is a thing too.
It is different.
It's a thing that happens, and I'm always like, someone says, "What's a threat model?" I usually say, best case, I could say, if I'm fully buffed, I can go 15, but there's a lot of variables.
And the thing is, when I get asked that on their clock, I don't have a problem with it because they're trying to figure out where they can get safely. Yeah. When they ask that, and I'm in the middle of activating my model over here, I want to reach across the table and smack them.
Some of those,
and that's what they do. Is they're trying to break me up because I have to come back here and think, well, I don't want to be an ass, so I'm going to go ahead and explain to them how the model works. Oh, well, we're talking about this model. I'm going to move this model now. Okay, that model's activation is done. Ooh.
Yeah.
And that's dick move.
I used to accidentally do this to people because I wouldn't ask them questions about their models per se. I would just be sociable.
Yeah.
Well, there's that too. People, it's like,
Yeah.
okay, like if I'm playing a Xerxes brick, and I have more people have hit dice down.
Oh, yeah.
Death clock themselves versus that than anything else. So when I'm playing that, I'm actually quieter than normal because I know they need every second.
Yeah.
But I could very simply just ask them in the beginning of the game when we're first starting, just to have some conversation on their clock.
Yeah.
Because I know
Casually chat.
because they're gonna be more friendly. A lot of players don't start getting serious until the 20 to 30 minute mark.
Yeah.
But I know I could really easily cut some time off their clock just chatting, and I know people do that, and that's a really fucking annoying thing. There's
Yeah.
a lot
I
of
tried to do the reverse.
Not everyone knew that. Like, I didn't know that until you pointed it out to me that some people considered that rude.
I
thought I was being polite.
But there's people there chatting. I'm not,
But even if you hand them your cards, the person that's asking you a question...
No,
No, she's talking about if you're like, hey, did you see Guardians of the Galaxy? I'm on the clock, bitch. Shut up.
I thought I was just being polite.
yeah. Well, there's
But
that.
and that's what we're talking about, is a lot of these things you can do accidentally and not mean to be mean in any way. The other thing is you're playing circle. No one's going to dice down against you ever. Like, they're just not.
You're going to kill him on turn 3 or you're going to lose.
Yeah, like you don't play Xerxes, you don't play any of the lists that clock people. It's okay.
Yeah, I've been thinking about running that Axis Tier 3 thing just to see if people indeed are guaranteed to clock every game against me, because I'm kind of curious.
It's
pretty rough.
amazing when you play a clock. But I'm saying, there's enough people, there's enough social cheaters out there that really play with the charismatic cheating.
Sure.
And those people, they're out there. We're not naming names, but go fuck yourself.
And kind of
you know who you are. You're going,
I get away with that. It's funny.
Yeah,
it's not funny. You're an
it's
ass.
not.
And if you know people that think it's funny, call them on it.
Yeah.
It's your responsibility as well to call these people.
Yeah,
That's
and I'm
the
not-
flip side of asking questions on the opponent's clock being a dick move. When people ask me questions on their clock, which is the correct time to ask questions, I try to be efficient in my answer. You know, like
let me
stuff
show
like,
ya.
Yeah,
like
I've
there was a
had
couple
people-
examples I've had is, and I go above and beyond. Like somebody's like, well, what's that guy's defense? Well, it's 12. What's this guy's? And I'll be like, listen. All of my views are defense 12. Only this guy's 14. Rest of my armor's defense 12.
I'm playing
Does this guy have reach? No. Does this guy have reach? No. Tell you what. This is the only guy with reach. Save you the trouble of asking.
When I ask people questions on my clock appropriately, they can never ever find their, like, I
Yeah,
can say
that,
they.
and
Yeah.
that's
It's
an
not those
annoying
guys.
form of cheating that they claim it's not. They're not doing anything wrong. They're just trying to. Well, you should fucking know your own.
I finally started flipping it back to their clock.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if it's legal or not, but I was like, you know what? If you don't know what your card is and you can't answer
You know
my
what
question,
happens though? They answer pretty quickly.
The rule says
They stopped
the
doing
rules,
it.
The understood rule that I've heard thrown about several times is if they answer the question quickly, it's all on your time, and if they are flipping through their binder, don't find their cards, it's on their time. Thanks for playing.
Yeah.
No one's gonna call you for
No
that.
one's going to be upset about that.
Yeah. Correct.
If you ask what's his def and he says 12 and it goes to 14, that's all on your time. If you ask what's his def and he's playing trolls and he goes flipping through his cards for half hour, that's on his
I
clock.
have to go to the spell book. Hold on.
Flip side. What's the second letter of the third word in the fluff on his card? Is not an acceptable
Not
thing to
okay.
ship over to their clock.
Oh. Didn't know. Thanks for the clarification.
That you don't get to do.
Yeah.
What's Emergo's full backstory? How do you get that fan again?
Yeah.
Which character did you take it from? You're going to the Mark 1 book trying to find
What
the
year
answer.
AR was he born? Click. Forces book. Forces book.
Actually,
What's the fuel loadout on that Kodiak?
But if they answer in 10 seconds, you lose the game. Damn it! He knew the answer. Obviously.
Final Jeopardy.
but yeah, so that one makes me very angry when done.
It's one of the hardest.
I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say that if you are competing in a Masters tournament, even a Masters qualifier, and you've made it through the initial couple of rounds, and you're either the luckiest son of a bitch alive.
If you're in the top 8 of a Masters,
Sure.
I'll say yeah.
You're either the luckiest son of a bitch on the planet, or you are just fucking with me. Like, if you're asking questions, honestly, you did not get to that point
Without knowing
knowing the trolls are def 12. You did not get to that
Having some
point without
knowledge,
knowing that Ret Jacks all have a fucking magical melee weapon. I've had that asked before. Like, I was running, I don't even remember, I think I was running, the Griffin Swarm or something. It was like, well, how many magical weapons do you have? I was like, all of them. I want to see all the cards on your time.
No.
I'm playing Ret, get bent.
Granted, Rhett, though, is probably one of those corner cases. You
I didn't know they all had magical weapons.
I didn't know either.
I didn't know either.
only
If you had
weapons-
said it, I would have believed
The
you.
only weapons in Ret that aren't magical are fists, which is why Hyperion is such a douche nozzle on so many levels. He's like one of the only Ret heavies that doesn't have magical melee.
Because his fists aren't magical.
His fists aren't magical, and his side guns aren't magical.
Are
It's
the battle
just
mage
the big
fists
gun.
magical?
Yup.
So it's just jacks with fists don't have magical weapons.
Yup.
But the ones that have battle glaives with open hands are magical
Yup.
because they're wristing you to death.
Almost everything in Ret that's a jack or in any way does anything magical is just magical because we're awesome.
Interesting. So somebody was mentioning before is kind of going back to our dice thing. What do you think about people who roll all their dice at once? Like, this is my attack and damage roll.
You're not allowed to do that. I tried to do that once someone punched me. It was like first tournament.
I don't like it.
Yeah,
Especially, people get weird. They're like, these two are my to-hit roll. These two are my damage roll. If I get a crit, this slightly different colored red one is my extra because I have brutal, and then this one's my location. No, fuck you.
Just roll.
Why are you choking me?
The only thing
I'm not strangling, I'm choking. Make a note.
The only early die,
the other way around.
The only early die roll that I don't have a problem with, and you're actually cheating yourself doing this, just FYI, is if somebody's attacking a warlock and they roll a location die.
I do that a lot.
Because it's just like you're probably going to transfer. You're giving your opponent information you don't have to give them, but I don't have a problem with it.
I always just
Actually,
forget they don't
no,
have a
you're giving
location.
yourself information.
No, the opponent that's going to transfer is who you're giving.
they
them.
can-
The
Yeah,
opponent.
because they can suddenly decide instead
Oh, yeah,
of
yeah,
transferring
I'm
it
sorry,
to the
yes,
blitzer,
yes,
they
yes,
can
backwards,
transfer
yes.
it to.
You're only
The
hurting
person
yourself.
who is transferring is gaining knowledge.
You're
Right,
only
right,
hurting
goes
yourself,
backwards.
but feel free. Other than that, roll the right dice.
I always forget that warcasters don't have a location.
I do that. I will regularly.
One of them
just-
does. One Warcast and one Warlock.
I
Although
roll-
Warlock is sometimes.
When I'm getting in a
Warlock
hurry,
is
I roll a location. I'm like, this is my location die.
Yep.
And I'm rolling that with every attack I'm doing. I'm like, okay, I know your mana word doesn't have location. Fuck you.
Yeah,
I got a rhythm going.
And like,
Stop
I don't
asking
have
me
a problem
questions.
with that, but to hit with the damage, especially,
I've
it's
also-
very easy to get them mixed up, and like it's just a
I
bad
have
idea.
for
hard to
time
read.
reasons.
Yeah.
I've had, I've got my 2 red dice, and then I've got this like blue die or whatever. I'm like, those are damage, and that's location. By the way, I'm going to roll all 3 when I'm doing my attack rolls also because I'm just going to scoop all 3 and throw them. Just ignore the blue one on my to hit rolls. I've seen that as well.
A form of dice cheating that is also very important. And I apologize for anyone that accidentally bought the PP dice, not knowing this about them. Is if your dice are not legible from across the table,
Fuck you.
throw them in a trash can. Go buy legible dice, you cheating dick. Because it's not just the fact that I can't verify that what you rolled is what you say you rolled, because I can't, because it's the fucking Retribution of Sira die.
He
Which
has
are-
those like symbol dice.
Oh
It's
my
like,
God.
He does those on purpose.
He
He's the
does
biggest
that in funny games.
Yeah.
I don't think he does that.
I've actually made him change
He
He
does
does
dice.
big
dice.
foam dice.
Yeah, I know.
I'm like, Keith, I can't play with those dice. I'm going to rage.
So anyway,
For his birthday,
And yet you
Jackie
didn't put
went
them
to
down your
the
pants.
and
thing.
bottom like ridiculous dice.
Bottom like
He loves
ridiculous
ridiculous.
dice. She's like, which of these are the hardest to read? And I was like, they're all terrible. I don't know. What to
I
say.
found some bad
They got
dice.
Roman numerals on them. And
So anyway, if your dice aren't legible from across the table, you're a cheating asshole. B, you're probably cheating all the time if you have illegible dice, because your mind sees what it wants to see if they are that confusing to read. Like, just get legible dice.
Ooh, make sure. So this just occurred to me, although this falls under that realm. Novelty dice. Not novelty, I should say. Souvenir dice.
Sure.
They'll have the symbol instead of the 6.
Or the 1.
They'll have the symbol instead of the 1. Yeah. Make sure all your dice are consistent about which side the symbol is on.
And tell your
if you
opponent
roll
ahead of time.
If you roll your dice and there's 2 Gen Cons, a War Machine Weekend, a Die Con, and a Crippled System, are those all 6s? Are those all 1s? Is it half 6s, half 1s?
I would
And-
prefer you just not use those dice.
Well, I'm okay with using
If they're
them.
consistent, like I only have the Crippled System dice. I think I have War Machine Weekend as well, but it's the same. Like in
We
both
should have
cases.
made the Crippled System dice stuff. Some of one set to be the 4, the next set to be the 3, and then it's 2.
it's random on each die.
And show your. And if you are going to use one that has a symbol and it's legible, that's fine. Show them whether it's the one or the 6 at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, you're going to get in a rush.
Yeah.
You're going to roll your dice quickly. You're going to be like, "Oh, I totally hit," and they're going to be like, "The fuck you did?" And I was like, I saw the symbol, so it's a 6." And they're like, "Well,"
Well, then you can just show them.
except they're going to be like, "I don't remember what I saw because I didn't know I was looking for a symbol as a 6."
Gotcha.
Like, you're going to get in a situation where you're going to.
Yeah, I didn't realize I had a flow chart and diagrams to be prepared for this test.
Yeah, exactly. So, anyway, that's another form of dice cheating, is using illegible dice. And I accidentally did this. One of our locals actually has really terrible vision, which I didn't realize. And I was playing Jeff, one of the Jeffs. And so we were playing, and I was rolling on my side.
84 Jeffs.
Yeah, I know. Old Circle Jeff. I was rolling on my side of the table, and he couldn't see shit. And my dice are pretty legible. And so I started rolling my damage like over on his side of the table. I was like, I have another set. You read those. I'll get the next one ready. Because he literally couldn't see them across the table.
Not have his contacts in?
I don't know. I'd never realized he was blind as a bat.
There's some folks that are like, I think Daughter of Frankenstein.
Daughter of Frankenstein and Black are both legally blind.
Black is
yeah,
legally
but
blind.
Jeff's
But
never
that's different.
said anything before.
Yeah.
Like, this is the first I'm hearing about it.
It shocked me too.
So he must have just, like, not had his contacts in that day?
He might have just, yeah.
But my point is,
Like,
if your
the eye
opponent can't,
doctor.
if there is a reason your opponent can't see your dice on your side of the
Or
table,
he's fucking with you.
or he's fucking with, roll them where they can see them. Like it legitimately shouldn't cost you much to roll here versus here, which I know no one on air can hear. But like reaching a little bit across the table, as long as you're not one of those people who's like, I threw my dice into the world, like
You're whipping your casino dice across the table.
Man, nothing will make someone who paints like just freak the fuck out when you start chucking those casino dice across the table.
God,
Yeah, just like
Nope.
yeah.
you'll lose because you've been murdered.
I know, it's probably been 2 hours by now.
I have crossed everything off. We've
Yay!
I don't think we're gonna have time for the zap.
Anyone have final thoughts?
Don't cheat.
Unless it's at Scrabble.
You can
Unless it's
cheat at Scrabble.
Apparently, at Scrabble and Monopoly, it's fine. But otherwise, don't cheat.
Well, okay.
Hold on. Just don't play Monopoly.
Don't play
Okay.
Don't play Monopoly or Scrabble, especially if you have to play it. Make sure Katie's nowhere around, or
Here's
realize
the thing with
it's
Scrabble
no
in
real
life,
Scrabble.
Is when you can replace letters on the board with letters that are in your little thingy, so then you can steal them. That's always really fun.
That's something her family actually does in Scrabble. Her family.
My
is a
mother's
Scrabble
family
team.
motto was win if you can, lose if you must, but always cheat.
It's not cheating.
We
if
are
you-
never
and
playing.
her dad had a great one. This is
That
true
one
as
game
well.
with the thing with the gym ruined it.
No, that was Illuminati.
Yeah, we're never playing Illuminati. That's
Her dad
It's such a
was
fun
an
game.
avid golfer and an avid gin player, and his slogan worked for either, which is "He who keeps score and loses is a fool." Oh, what do you know? I beat you by 2. Meh. Didn't you 8-putt that one? Nope, says 2. Fuck off.
Putt-putt is also an acceptable time to cheat,
Yeah.
as it turns out.
it's required, isn't it? I thought it was like a.
I've literally never cheated when keeping score at putt-putt. And then I went putt-putting with Katie one time, and she has to keep score. I have never putt-putted such a terrible, atrocious round of putt-putt in my entire life. Like, I didn't know you could putt a 300. Like,
You were just having an off day.
I was having an off day.
I was just.
Katie had a
distracting
7.
you.
It was true. I also didn't know that in an 18-round course you could putt less than an 18.
So here's a putt-putt related thing. I have a free game I want. I think this card's like from the 1870s. Raylene won't let me use it because she's embarrassed that I still have it in my wallet. And the last time we went into the miniature
very
golf, like
old
afterwards, I
George
asked the
card.
lady at the cash register, I'm like, would you have
Why
taken
does
this?
it
She's
say
like,
10
of
a.m.
course
high
I
school
would.
on the
It
back.
says a high school.
Don't ask why it says 10 a.m. high school on the back of my free
That's
miniature
what he met
golf
his
round.
friend Bob
I won this.
in high school.
I met somebody at 10 a.m. at the high school for something. Don't worry about it.
All right, so I'm gonna answer just like one here, or maybe a couple. Now that some other podcasts have a member who is qualified for War Machine Weekend, when will Crippled System join this elite club?
We were there in the past.
Yeah,
We've been there before.
We've been there years ago.
Yeah.
Before
I will
before all the
qualify-
cheaters played.
I will
Last year we
qualify
had-
in 2015, or something will happen.
Okay.
Or not.
2013 we had
there'll
somebody
be some
qualified, didn't we?
forfeit.
I
didn't
was,
you?
I was the
Finger
first
shape,
alternate, but
something,
that's when
whatever.
everyone showed up. And the year before I was in, and the year before Jim was in, and we had,
Yeah,
we've had people.
We've had qualifiers.
And I mean,
Yeah,
I was in several
qualifiers.
Masters of like I was in several of the Masters qualifier events this year. I qualified into them, so
Yeah.
If none of us make it on this year, I'll do something.
Well, as I said, I may not play.
I don't plan
I
on
can't.
playing for all of
That's
2015.
fine. Then it's
my-
down to Brian and I, or down to
goal.
just me. So whatever. One of us is getting in, or else something terrible.
You don't want to know what happens.
I don't know where my models are at.
I do.
Zappity.
Grumble.
I had one of them.
It's true, we did.
I gave it back.
Somebody
I got
made a grumble. Somebody made a suggestion for the next movie. Pain Train should be Seventh Son.
I don't know what that is.
I think we saw the trailers for that and it looked
Yeah,
terrible.
or-
yeah,
yeah,
that'll
yeah,
be terrible.
that's a pain train.
Someone else said Interstellar, but then somebody else I talked to said it's amazing. It's very bipolar.
I
Somebody
don't
told me it
know
was
how
very
you.
slow and
It's
weird.
very. It's. I don't know. You might. I don't know.
Yeah, because I've heard some people say it was 3 hours of shit, and some people saying that it's the best thing
I
ever.
would never say it was 3 hours. It was long. It was slow. It was amazing acting, amazing science, and you're like, what?
Like, I
That's-
like
that's
2001. That's long and boring, but amazingly acted,
Yeah.
and I like that movie.
Yeah, so I think you could like. I mean, I still don't know what I feel about that movie. That's
So-
my review of Interstellar. I
Thank
don't know.
you, Ralph.
All right, so are we going to cut it short?
Brian's
No,
back.
no recommendations?
I don't my recommendation is 30 seconds, because one of them's a repeat, and one of them might be a repeat. No, fuck you, 30 seconds. Glenn Ross is one of the greatest movies ever. It's on Netflix. Go on IMDb. The cast list is like 7 people long, and 6 of them have won multiple Academy Awards. So go fucking watch Glenn Ross.
When you watch it, you're like, man, I've heard all these quotes. This entire movie I've heard spoken to me before, because it's all quotable. It's amazing.
Yeah, Alec Baldwin is in it for like 2 minutes. He has one monologue, and he got an Oscar for it. Like, the movie's fucking amazing. And then my repeat, because I guarantee that 90% that none of you listen to me. Persona 4 is the best JRPG of the last decade.
You mentioned that one before.
It's a repeat. I recommended it way early, and I guarantee nobody bought it on my recommendation, so I'm recommending it again because I just replayed it again. It's fucking amazing. Persona 4.
Been afraid to.
You'd like it. It's a dating simulator / JRPG. I explained this because during the day it's a dating simulator, and during the night you go into Dungeons and Battle monsters, and the relationships you build during the day increase various tied to them stats at night. So like,
I remember you talking about
your
that,
football buddy is tied to your strength, and the band geek girl is tied to your intelligence, and so whoever you hang out with, they affect G element. It's awesome.
Would band girl be dexterity?
No.
Anyway,
Somebody's thinking way too hard about this.
Katie?
I don't have a recommendation this week.
All right. Yeah.
Go to Home Depot because it's good.
Home Depot.
Don't be married to a short woman, or don't be born a short woman.
Don't be born a short woman.
All right.
Wow.
my recommendation, I may have recommended it before, is Kilo Kai rum. I was reminded again how delicious it is when we were at War Machine Weekend.
Travis gave me fucking Captain Morgan's pre-mixed Long Island iced tea mix. It was delicious, and I drank I filled like a giant solo cup with it, and Travis, he told me after the fact that he saw me do that and was horrified / amused because I drank it all in like 30 seconds, and that was a terrible / wonderful idea. It's delicious.
It is pretty good.
Yeah,
I was there for
Captain Morgan's pre-mixed. It's just a bottle of pre-mixed Long Island iced tea, and it tastes like joy and happiness and love.
What was yours?
Kilo Kai. It's a rum.
Yeah.
Shockingly good, shockingly cheap. Like $1 per quality, it's a good balance.
For the Kilo Kai or
the Kilo Kai?
Yeah, the Kilo Kai.
Somebody showed me a jar of Kilo Kai, and it's like $20, and it's like, what? And it was good.
I forget who it was. Somebody came up to me because I had mentioned how I was drinking the Kilo Kai versus the Kraken at a thing. Oh, I know who it was. Painting with Metal John, who always does the Kraken, and he had Kraken with him there, and he was drinking his Kraken, like taking shots and mixing them there. I was like, John, I don't want to ruin Kraken for you, but I brought Kilo Kai, and I talked about it on the Legion Sode, like you should try Kilo Kai, and he took a shot of my Kilo Kai, and he said, damn, Kraken sucks. So I'm just saying, the largest proponent of Kraken that I know thinks Kilo Kai is better. He may not have said it sucks. He said something along those lines. It probably hit profanity.
Unplayable trash.
Because it's John.
Yeah. Yeah, the Kraken is unplayable trash.
Yeah.
My recommendation is the YouTube channel Tested, which is basically Adam and Joel from, or Adam and...
Rooster Teeth, I assume?
No. I got those wrong. Adam and from MythBusters.
Oh, Adam and Jamie?
Adam and Jamie. It's basically them with two other guys doing a whole bunch of things.
So it's the MythBusters?
Maybe-ish. But they just did... I actually posted on Katie's wall recently. They're the ones who did the costume for Professor Farnsworth.
Yeah.
That was them? That was
good.
Creepy.
Yeah.
I saw that, and I went to go put it on Katie's wall, and then right underneath it I saw Andy Welton share this on Katie's wall. I'm like, damn it.
It was really good.
And then he also did a costume for Zoidberg as well.
But the Zoidberg was a mask.
Yeah, and that was actually really
cool
good.
mask, yeah.
Both of them, I think, were pretty solid.
Katie, did you see the Farnsworth cosplay, and did you think, yeah, I'd hit it? No? Okay. All right.
I have some standards.
My recommendation is more of a warning. If you used to play World of Warcraft and it's that expansion time and you haven't jumped the boat into it, and you're like, man, I liked World of Warcraft, but I have an addictive personality, I'm afraid I would get sucked again, run away. Because they added this garrison system, and let me just explain, garrison system is basically meth. Once you get a taste of it, you're not going to stop.
The first taste is free.
I mentioned it beforehand. It's basically, if Breaking Bad was going to start today, it wouldn't be about meth. It'd be about the garrison system and WoW, because it's amazingly, addictively awesome. Run away if you are even thinking.
Tim, you are not allowed.
Yeah, Tim. If you want to if you want to do things this winter, don't try it. That's my recommendation.
All right.
Hooray!
And don't cheat.
Yeah,
don't cheat.
Fucking cheat.
Hey, 5 more episodes until the big 100.
I have plans for the 100. And
Pip still hasn't found the 10th episode yet. He's incompetent.
I like how people posted. Oh, was it you that posted in the link?
No, I just sent it. I PM'd him. I was like, "Here's the link."
Somebody actually posted him in the link, which was hilarious.
Yeah, 10th episode. Deal with it.
Deal with it. The end.
All right, so we're calling it quits, huh?
We are calling it quits. Unless there's something amazing on the Twitch feed that we need to address before we stop.
I have to explain to somebody, or somebody give me the spelling for Kilo Kai.
Yeah.
Kilo.
Space
Like
K-A-I.
kilo. Space Kai.
What's this power button do?
Kai.
Do not fucking press anything. God damn it.
So Kilo Kai.
So none of our listeners are worth a damn and have anything we need to answer before we say goodbye?
No, it's, well, we,
They all like
we kind of
cheating
went
this
over it.
Okay, that's fine. I just if Andy had a last minute say, "Oh my goodness, we need to hit this," but we don't because everybody sucks. So the end.
No, everyone's awesome.
Everyone is awesome.
I'm indifferent to whatever's going on.
You're a woman, so it doesn't matter.
I'll point.